Welcome and good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, to the mid-season update Campfire Chat Live React, where we hopefully don't have to bash the developers. We have the 4 bullet points, 25 minutes. We'll see live gameplay of the Gauntlet, and I'll be able to write down some questions already that I have myself. Is what level are monsters? What tier is the Gauntlet, right? Because that's going to be like important for what kind of builds we're going to be playing. That's very interesting for me. Vampiric Powers returning, nerfed, but every vampiric power. There has been, guys, cleansing acid and pacts have been found in the overworld already. So this is something that I know. People have already found this stuff in the overworld. Yeah. Small rework on the Necro. The problem is, when it comes down to class balance and changes, don't expect much, if anything. Last Campfire Chat, they already stated they only do minimal unless completely broken. You know? So this is already, when it comes down to class changes and balances, I wouldn't expect too much. They already was like, you know, Holy Exotic. Howdy. When season 4 itemization changes show us everything. I mean, spill the beans, seriously. I want to see what we're getting. Like, they finally promised to show us something itemization wise, but it's only going to be like a small something. So they didn't promise to show us much, right? Some love for the pulverized druid. I mean, there might be, like, I could expect overpower nerf reversed, to be honest. So this is something I could expect, because the overpower nerf was uncalled for. Like, seriously, completely uncalled for. There was no reason apart from Barbarian being OP, but Barbarian was OP anyways, you know. Hard Barb nerf. Well, they won't nerf Barb, at least not that, you know. They'll just be like, boop, but they won't shut it completely down. They really stated that in the last Campfire Chat when it came down to balancing changes. The balancing changes are only minimal. I mean, they were even contradicting themselves. It was so weird, chat. When we had 30 minutes or an hour where they just talked about how they're going to do nerfs, and then they gave us 3 examples, and in the 3rd example, they said they don't have a clue what they would do then. Yeah, here, overpower nerf reversed, lucky hit chance nerf reversed. So these are 2 things that I would like to see, because they were absolutely uncalled for too, for Necromancer. I mean, Necromancer got the lucky hit chance on Corpse Explosion nerfed, because, let me check my notes. Oh yeah, we were doing already less damage than anyone else. You know? Howard, howdy. Like, what I expect with the Vampiric Powers, Howard, is that they return nerfed. So we could get every single Vampiric Power back, including pacts and cleansing assets and everything, Chad, but they would be nerfed. That would be, for example, Flowing Veins. Flowing Veins was 60% damage over time, right? Which is too much. So bring it back as 20% damage over time. See, this is how I would be, like, okay with it. I mean, I don't want Vampiric Powers to be absolutely insane, but if they would bring back the Vampiric Powers that we had in slightly nerfed, I'm fine with that. Like, give it. You know? So I feel like getting anything Vampiric Power wise, they were great. I mean, some of them were straight up broken. Like, if we look back here, at least for Necromancer and the Necromancer builds that we had, right? Then we can go for season 2, and we can look at the Vampiric Powers. They were obviously too strong. Like, I mean, like, look at Flowing Veins, right? Glowing Veins was 60% multiplicative more damage. But if we had 20... Fine. I mean, like, what did we have? We had Anticipation. That Anticipation was great. I mean, that was a flat 20% cooldown reduction on ultimates. I loved that one. That was one of my favorite Vampiric Powers. Just being able to use your ulti more often, right? Army of the Dead. Bone Storm. Blood Wave. Just like that. Anticipation was so cool. And a Curse Touch too, because a Curse Touch allowed me to make things vulnerable. I wouldn't even mind getting Vampiric Curse back. Because remember Prey on the Weak, Chad? Prey on the Weak was my greatest fun. I would love to this return. Are we getting leaderboards soon? Yes, leaderboards are coming. We're even getting live gameplay. So we get live gameplay of the Gauntlet Trials leaderboard. Casted by Macrobio Boy and Anna Cakes. So this is what we're getting. Really interested. And we can figure out what level are monsters and what tier is the Gauntlet. And then we can make builds according to the specifications of the leaderboard. Because that's very important. I need to know if the leaderboard is like, if I need to go full defense or if I can go lower defense. I would love meta back. I mean, metamorphosis, or however you pronounce it. I still struggle with it. This returning for Necromancer would be huge. Haven't played Diablo this season yet. There's so many good games out there. Honestly, Fully Gore, right now, there's tons of good games. It's hard to really commit just to one or even a few. Like, I struggle as a creator myself right now because there's just simply too many interesting things. So meta back would be huge. That's my greatest wish, probably. You know, just give me meta back. Just give me metamorphosis back. That would be like, for other classes, maybe not so big. For Necro, this would be like a 400 out of 400. Like, I mean, we could finally use T-Bald's Will again. We could finally use T-Bald's Will. There's another Vampiric power I would like to see. I mean, Domination is unnecessary. So Domination was 24% more damage against stunned, immobilized, frozen, or feared. I think that one is unnecessary. Feed the Coven was cool because it kind of allowed you to have your minions restore primary resource. So that was cool. But Hectic. Hectic, chat. No, not Hectic. What was it? Ravenous. Ravenous. So up to a 20% chance to increase your attack speed by 40% of your total movement speed. Right, Chad? Ravenous. That power back. That would be insane. I mean, that, like, I don't want to say that would change everything because it sounds so cheesy, but it would be more than a step in the right direction. Right? Oh, Fully Gore, absolutely. 20 out of 20. Sanguine Brace is unnecessary, right? We don't need Fortify. Undying, maybe, right? How's Minion Necro doing, actually? We had a couple of Minion Necro run-ins this season, so we made a few builds here and there with the Minion Necro. But it's still D tier, bottom D tier actually, Barrel Feeder. Cleared a tier 100 dungeon, killed Uber Lilith, so it's good. It works. It's not insane. It does do the do. You know? I think a Razorplate. Honestly, Razorplate is good for AFK Necro. Let me actually pull up the patch notes for Diablo 4. What did they say? No, sorry, wrong game. Sorry, chat. Don't get angry. I was unfaithful. They said no Campfire Chat. I need the Campfire Chat. Paz posted it. Paz radar. There was some that was here. I wanted to see like how exactly was the wording again, because they said join blah blah blah, visit forums. Here we'll have a Q&A segment, right? We'll be having the live gameplay, so playing Diablo, also have special event showcase, leaderboards, balance updates, bloodthirsty powers set to make their return. Then we have special event where they play live. And there was also a mention of season 4, right? We have, delve into Gauntlet leaderboards, balance updates. Like, I'm missing the part. Like, I read the part. I'm not blind, right? They said something about, where they talk about season 4 too. Am I just not seeing it? No, Terra, it's not early for season 4. It's needed. This is needed because this is what we're waiting for. This is so important to tell us now what they're planning exactly for season 4, especially after the failed uber unique crafting system. Now, I'm saying failed because obviously it's like, it's good, it's interesting that it exists, but it's kind of like it's the wrong time for it. You know what I mean? So, but after introducing something like this crafting system, I want to know if season 4 will have something like unique crafting. Because this is still like something I would like to have. I would like to be able to craft certain uniques. I would be like, I mean, it just feels bad to disenchant uniques for nothing, get nothing, and have nothing. When we get 14 minutes left to figure this out, chat. But yeah, so like you have to remember that last time during season 1, already 1 month in, we were hearing things about season 2. It's like, and since season 4 has been hinted so much, they need to give us more specifics, because I can tell you one thing, season 4 needs to be done already. I mean, realistically, Chad, at this point, I mean, season 4 is 2 months out, roughly, 60 days. I mean, that thing needs to be done more or less. Let's say 85%. This is the season 4 itemization changes are not 50% done. They need to be 85% done so they can tell us something, right? The worst crafting system you've seen. I mean, the uber unique crafting system was just a complete failure. Like sure, for Eternal Realm, it's interesting for people that play way too much. Yes, even with the new drop rates of uber uniques, it's somewhat interesting. It's still a fail. But it's a step in the right direction again. 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and then 3 steps forward, then 4 steps back, and so on, right? Leaderboards should have been done ages ago. No, I think leaderboards are now quite good timing. We could have had it before. It's fine now. I'm looking personally forward to it. I didn't need them until this point. I mean, yes, until the mid-season update, because right now we're getting the patch notes, right, Chad? Or we're getting the talk. The actual update is happening in 15 days. Yeah, you still have to wait 15 days. Chat. What's your favorite class next to Necro? Probably Sorg and Druid. But honestly, Necro, like Necro here, and then everything else down there. Man, like you might have seen me play other games recently. Like I made some Last Epoch guides, and that was also Necromancer. I just like the concept. It's a very nice concept. Exploding zombies included in other shenanigans. Wraith Lord. It's fun. Elden Ring guides, the usual. State of the Necromancer, in case you missed it, Chan. They have been interesting videos. You make it sound like leaderboards are sign of groundbreaking content. Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, some people keep saying like they want some cool new innovative endgame. Won't happen. Won't happen. There is no innovative new endgame coming. It's all gonna be refurbished. I'm like if anyone expects something cool, new, amazing, exciting, no. Like, sure, leaderboards is nothing groundbreaking. It's still good to have. I mean, what I like about the leaderboards is weekly and weekly changing. That's my favorite part right now. So it's a weekly dungeon that weekly changes. That brings fresh wind. Honestly, for me, this gives me a reason to log in every week and check it out at least once. You know? This is very simple. I will log in every week. I will check this out once, twice, 3, 4 times, how much I feel like it, right? And then I'll be stopping to play for the week, and then I'll come back next week. So that's how I feel right now. Loot filter is a lazy thing not needed. Loot filters don't hurt anyone. Loot filters are optional and fine. I do agree that before we get loot filters, we just simply need better loot. Right? So fix the loot first, then you can still introduce loot filters, don't get me wrong. But again, something like a loot filter is an absolute optional thing. So if loot filters would be in the game and loot would be fixed, you still don't have to make one. I mean, no one forces you, right? But we need both. So, like, we don't need either or, we need both. Marius, I mean, loot filters are great in Last Epoch, but Last Epoch needs them, for example. The game wouldn't simply work without. The same kind of is with Path of Exile. So you would say Path of Exile is so good because it has loot filters. But if Path of Exile did not have loot filters, it wouldn't work due to the amount of useless shit you're getting. When we get useless shit in abundance in Diablo 4 as well. Don't get me wrong. But again, we need kind of like both, right? We want the loot changes, we want the affix fixes, we want everything. And then we kind of want some filters and some other stuff. I doubt it though that, how do I say this now? I don't think loot filters is something that's going to come. New to the channel, gotta say nice watching D4 content without lynch mob hate like other channels, Elder Mark. Well, it's pretty simple. We're old as fuck. I can show you my YouTube statistics that show us that we are generally old as hell. Like you all here are grandpas and grandmas. I mean, gaming wise, we're 24 plus up to 65 plus. So usually more behavy than just throwing hate, but also not interested in just reading baseless hate, to be honest. Like I got better things to do with my life. Here, this is our age statistics, guys. If you want to see age statistics, so we got 18 to 24 is 11%. This is the highest mark, chat. 70% of our community is from 25 to 44. I mean, hell, look at this. We got more 45 to 54 than 18 to 24. Yeah. And yes, we have more 65 plus viewers than 13 to 17. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got more 65 plus down here than we have 13 to 17 year olds. And no, we don't have any girls watching us. I'm sorry, chat. I mean, there's one, Katie, but she's at physical therapy right now. But no more.
So much going on.
New quest lines, legendary items, unique items, new mechanics, challenges, and more.
Being lied to, Chan. We're being lied to.
In the season of the Construct, you learn of a wondrous place beneath the sands of Kejistan, filled with untold treasure. Nearly all who seek this treasure never return. Those that do return are
This is how everything started this season.
possessed. You seek out this place to put an end to whatever's lurking there.
Following a lead, you discover a sprawling network of underground vaults. It houses the Loom.
Now, what the greatest sadness about this season still is, in my eyes, that they actually caved in and nerfed the vaults. I mean, vaults were somewhat intriguing for a challenge, and then they kind of like gave us infinite pearls of warding and made it inconsequential, which was a bit weird.
He's shapeless, manipulates others, takes on forms other than his own.
He has possessed one of Zoltankul's prized constructs.
And you must work with
max quality. By the way, are they loud enough, Chad? I mean, this is just the trailer loud enough.
This
Still,
season
though,
introduces constructs.
be loud enough, right?
These elementally powered monsters were originally created by Ijon and Zoltan to protect and maintain the loom. Unfortunately, Malphus has taken control of them and twisted them to his liking. They're powered by various different elements.
I was so excited about all these scorpions, and now I'm just annoyed by those flying bastards.
Protecting the main
I mean, no
treasures
joke.
within.
You know how annoying they
As players
are?
engage with the storyline of the Season of the Construct, they're going to come across a broken version of the Seneschal.
You know how
during the
annoying
quest.
they are?
The Seneschal is a special
Often you get
construct
randomly
that was built
one-shot.
to command the other constructs based on Iojon's and Zoltan's direction. Iojon of Chaldean repairs the Seneschal to follow your orders.
Horrible.
The Seneschal construct is your companion. It's a rebuilt construct that will accompany you throughout the season. Your construct's power will grow along with you. The Seneschal construct has many different abilities that can complement the player's build. It can deal damage, crowd control monsters, or
This is the
even
loudest
support
we can make it
directly
right
by
now, chat.
healing you,
But I
providing you
think
a
the
damage
actual
bonus.
stream will be
Magical
louder.
stones are the key to customizing and empowering your construct. They are primarily found in vaults. You get governing
know?
stones from the season's quest line, and you get tuning stones from playing through the seasonal content. A governing stone
Loadouts is still
going
gonna take a while.
while a tuning stone is a
Loadouts is going to take a while. They said it. UI limitations. Okay? UI limitations. Whatever that means. I wish we had a way to save paragons, skill trees. I don't care about items. Items is fast swap, but I want to save paragons and skill trees. The rest we don't need. Right? So that would already be like a very big pleasure.
simple skill into something.
By the way,
truly
where's
crazy.
my document? My season. Oh yeah, that needs to come to the side so I
Vaults
can make
are
notes into
seasonal
this.
dungeons that are filled with a high concentration of deadly traps, where you can farm for the magic stones for your seneschal constructs. You can
Chat, did you hear? Deadly traps are coming this season.
Then, the player teleports to the vault proper, encountering great challenges. Vaults
Fun
not
to
only
hear
have our
this
new
back
construct family in them,
after-
but also
after
new
the
traps
changes.
built for this season.
Players are going to discover many new hazards.
I mean, let's be real. I am going to be eternally saddened if vaults are not permanent in the game. If they take my vaults away, I am dead. If like in season 4, if I have to do normal nightmare dungeons again, I will be furious. I will like this needs to be permanent in the game. Yeah. I mean, fuck the robot. Pardon my French. But the vaults, they need to stay.
Have stacks of Zoltan's warding left over. If a player has more than one stack, they can open a rare ward-woven chest.
You missed something already?
Those
No,
have even better
we're just
reward.
getting started.
This season introduces our first
They're
stationary
giving us
box
like
of
this
Diablo
little
4.
This
intro
would be
before
a
the
fight
game
against
actually
this massive
begins.
protective golem meant to watch over the vaults. The Malphus, once again, has managed to corrupt and control.
Yeah, you can
Because
take our items, but
stationary,
you can't
it
have
gives
my
us the
vaults. I
opportunity
mean,
to include some of the
it wouldn't
season's
hurt
new
the
traps.
game to keep the vault as an option. I mean, like, again, you can do nightmare dungeons, right? And you can have vaults. Both things could exist side by side. Simple matter of fact. And it wouldn't hurt the game in any capacity. Especially like I'm talking about vaults without the robot. Right? Okay, here, they have gauntlets and leaderboards in the video too,
Players
right?
have a fixed amount of time
I mean,
to
here
achieve
you'll
high
see
scores
again
by
in the
proving
video
their
also,
might.
did we see
Any
a bit of
player who
gameplay?
unlocks World Tier 4
Oh no, we
or
didn't see any
Network
gameplay. You
can
just
compete
saw
in the
like the
Gauntlet.
character
The
jumping
Gauntlet
around
starts
without
several
player
weeks
levels or
into the
anything.
season of the construct.
Exactly, give
At the
players
beginning
more
of each week,
options.
a new
That's the
Gauntlet
whole
replaces
point.
the current one.
Like giving
Unlike
us
other
vaults
dungeons, every time you and other players
on
enter
top
the
of Nightmare
Gauntlet,
Dungeons
it will be exactly the same.
gives
Same
the
monster
end game
positions,
more
same
variety and fun.
affixes,
I mean, you
everything.
can end of the day still
This
choose
makes
what
it
you want
a
to
fair
do.
competition. Additionally,
I mean, no one's
monsters
forcing
within
you,
the
right?
Gauntlet start at level 100. This is meant to test
I love
your
the patty
fully
gives so much
leveled up and
resource.
geared
I
up
will
build.
miss that.
It's highly replayable, enabling a broad set of player choices.
No one doing
Players
Nightmare
can try
Dungeons though.
different
Hey. You say no one is doing Nightmare Dungeons. I've seen people level in Domheim tunnels this season. Okay? Listen, you're saying no one is doing Nightmare Dungeons. But then I've seen people, instead of just enjoying the season, sitting in Domheim tunnels. And if you're sitting in Domheim tunnels, that's okay. I do judge you harshly for refusing to interact with this season and you know, like, give the season a meaning. An increase in nightmare tiers, what I'm asking myself is, who would get hurt if they would increase nightmare tiers? So let's say they would make nightmare tier 101, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, and so on, right? Just some absolutely stupid infinite scaling, right?
Hello, Diablo community. Welcome to another Diablo 4 Campfire Chat.
Oh, this is loud.
My name is Adam Fletcher. I'm the community director here for Diablo, and I'm joined by two very, very familiar faces. Regular appearing people.
We have to make them quieter. Tell me.
Mr. Adam
I'll do it.
Jackson here. So our lead class designer, and Mr. Joey P, Joe Pipora, our associate game director. He doesn't like it when I say Joey P.
I don't hate it. It's just it feels like a running gag. That
Why does Joe look so done already?
Yeah.
And tired and
our
done.
production director.
Yeah, it's
very big fans of Joey P.
Joey P on deck. Yeah, what's up?
We have a big campfire chat to talk about today. We have a lot of updates to talk about for Diablo 4. Of course, we have our mid-season update, which is coming up really soon. In fact, it's coming next week. So players will be able to experience the mid-season update. And along with that, a very big feature that everyone's been talking about and anticipating.
Did I hear next week already?
Anticipated feature
Because that would be a bit early.
4, and that is
for a mid-season
Gauntlet.
update.
So, we'll be talking about the Gauntlet as well and actually showcasing it here because that does come with the mid-season update next week as well. So players will be able to jump into the Gauntlet and try it out themselves. Next Tuesday.
Happy.
But I know a lot of stuff has happened over Diablo 4.
I was expecting
since the start
14
of
days.
Season 3. Just recently we released the 1.32 patch, which was the one that included a way for players who actually have a bunch of Uber Uniques and want to craft Uber Uniques. Yeah. They can do that by creating resplendent sparks and then being able to craft the Uber Uniques that they specifically want if they happen to find other ones and stuff. And so, but we do have a lot of new features.
Yeah, probably on
into the
Tuesday. It's
actual
super
mid-season
early.
update
Like
with
it's like
1.33.
6 days.
One really popular one coming back from season 2. I know you guys want to talk about it a little bit more right now.
Yes, we have Vampiric Powers returning from season 2.
Yep.
Yeah. So we obviously really like being able to bring back some of the malignant powers from season 1 in the form of the unique rings we have dropping from Varshan in season 2. Now, as we're looking towards season 3 in the mid-season patch, we're able to bring back some of the Vampiric Powers that players really seemed to like. We thought were pretty cool. Yeah. Bring them back in a slightly different form. I think Adam's going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah, we'll be going over all of them and which ones we brought back and what they do. You'll be able to see all of it in a little bit here.
Yeah, now, please.
So I think we have a kind of a slide to start talking about our Vampiric Powers.
6.
Yeah, so really we've got 6 Vampiric Powers that are really returning from the Season of Blood. They're coming back this time as legendary powers instead of uniques. So unlike the unique rings, these are going to be legendary powers, just like any other legendary power that comes in the game. And they're not all exact one-to-one copies. They're really close to matching their previous functionality and kind of what you would expect them to do. But we brought them back in a way that's kind of evergreen, that they can be sustainable.
Yeah, they can fit in that mix and match format of the aspect system, right? So
yeah. So the ones we got here that are returning, you've got Accursed Touch, Blood Boil, Hectic, Metamorphosis, a fan favorite, Moonrise, and the Undying.
Fuck yeah.
You can see a few of them here being played out.
Okay, so Accursed Touch is insane. That's really good. That was kind of fun one. Hectic is okay. Meta is insane. Moonrise can be good. Undying is fine.
Yep.
Blood Boil was the overpower. What? Blood Boil was the overpower one.
They're coming back as these legendary aspects, legendary powers.
Yeah, so here we're going to show you the exact text, so you can screen cap that, figure out all the exact differences between these and what's in Season 2. Largely the same, a few differences. The biggest one I think you'll see in the next screen is Metamorphosis. Obviously, it's really strong. So now it's coming back, but it's going to increase the cooldown of your evade.
Yeah, it's kind of like that legendary aspect we put in Season 3 that increases your armor, but also increases the duration of your evade timer.
Yes, very similar. So, you got a little bit of a kiss curse there.
Yeah, I'm copying this all out.
Players to choose. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But coming back as aspect is kind of shitty.
So yeah, next going into what our updates are, we've got kind of our generic updates here. So the first one a lot of people have been talking about is snapshotting. We've heard a lot of cases from people they brought up where snapshotting is a thing that's been reported to us.
But we'll look at this into detail at the end, chat, of the Campfire Chat. We'll look back into this in detail.
Familiar. Snapshotting is this idea that when you get a buff, let's say a damage buff, you're able to hold on to that buff for a longer duration than it would normally last if you use it on a skill that is like channeled or lasts a really, really long time. So a simple example, this would be like the Barbarian's Whirlwind. If let's say I got a 50% damage buff and it lasts for 4 seconds.
So snapshotting
If
going
I have that
away
buff on me
is
the moment I
huge
channel Whirlwind,
because
it'll
that would
keep
ruin
that
the
buff going
leaderboard.
until I cancel Whirlwind because I had it when it started. And so if I
That's
keep my
Necro build
Whirlwind
right
going
now.
forever, I'll keep that
Nuclear
50% damage buff way beyond the normal 4-second time. If the game didn't have snapshotting, then it would just last for 4 seconds, whether or not I started Whirlwind when I had it, and that would be how long I would be doing the bonus damage. So in general, when it comes to snapshotting, we want to really...
This is like one of the most important changes, at least for leaderboards, and not needing to bug the game to win.
Desirable behavior, whether it's unequipping and re-equipping gear at certain times or using certain effects at certain times
Blood
to
boil
get way
returning.
more power than a player should normally
It's an
be able
offensive
to be. And it
power,
results
that's
in the
shit.
things like people gathering up a ton of buffs and then like one-shotting a boss or things like that in unintuitive ways. So we fixed every case that's been reported to us so far, and we'll continue to, and we're going to move toward more of a systemic approach to taking it out.
We'll look at the Vampiric Powers again later.
Also
when we
for
have
the Gauntlet,
time.
because we know that a few people were concerned about the Gauntlet and how snapshotting would be able to work there. In the Gauntlet, your gear, the skill tree, and the Paragon board cannot be changed. So you can't do any weird things of unequipping, re-equipping legendaries or
Very
things like that.
important
to try and
change
gain
for
an
the
advantage.
leaderboards.
What you bring into the
And for the Gauntlet.
is basically going to be locked. So it'll be a fair place for people to compete.
Blizzard
And
doing the
lastly,
smart thing.
more
I'm
generic thing with
surprised.
the Rogue, we found an issue where the weapon mastery passive was double dipping on critical strike damage bonuses, particularly when you mixed weapon mastery and the precision key passive. Players were able to do way more damage than was intended. So that
Yeah, I heard
another bug
that. Like
fix
rogues
is
could
coming
one-shot everything.
in this patch.
Literally one-shot everything.
All right, so next let's get into our first round of the class updates. First, we're going to start with the
Chat, are they kind of rushing through this and not giving it any soul somehow? I feel like I'm being rushed here somehow.
power of some things that were overperforming. The first one is that when you used basically AoE buffs like the Barbarian Warcry or the Druid's Bloodhowl, the Seneschal would be double dipping in the amount of bonus that it would get in its damage bonus, so we fixed a bug there.
I think they might want to get to the
And next we
leaderboard
did
part.
quite a bit of updates to some of the
Okay,
tuning
poison
stones.
support no longer
The
reapplies.
poison
Okay, they
support
fixed the
tuning
billions
stone
damage,
isn't gonna
Chad.
be reapplying the base damage when it spreads. It's going to match more the functionality of other kind of damage over time tuning stones. The bleeding and burning support tuning stones were a little bit overpowered, so we're reducing the power of those a little bit as well.
These are the changes so the robot doesn't do 200, 300, 400 trillion. And they're just glossing over. We're just done with Vampiric Powers, guys. That was 2 minutes for Vampiric Powers. What the fuck?
When it spreads, it's just going to spread and do that base amount of damage.
It's kind of sad.
All
Okay,
right,
let's see.
So next, let's get into the class updates. So we're going to start with the Barbarian. And again, we've got stuff for every single class. Right now, I'm
First
sure...
bullet, very powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah, Barbarian's pretty good right now.
As
That
many
is
of you,
something
I'm
that
sure
is
know,
very obvious.
the Barbarian's pretty good right now. A lot of people really like Charge, it turns out. It's a really strong skill.
So are they going to nerf it?
It's a fun skill.
Probably the biggest update you're going to see here, the next bullet point, is that we're not really planning to nerf Charge in this patch.
Told you.
Before, we had talked about kind of our bar for what we would consider to be too strong in the game, where we were nerfing a mid-season
close
patch.
to what we would
Charge is
consider
like
too
right
strong.
up there. And we talked a lot as a design team and made a call that we were going to keep it for the rest of the season. So, we know it's really, really good. It's really, really strong. A lot of people
I'm
are having
fine.
a lot of fun with it.
I don't play Bard.
We could have gone either way.
enjoy
on this,
your
so we'll
Charge
open
for
to
the rest of
feedback
the
what
season.
Community thinks, but now with the
you
launch of
know,
the Gauntlet,
it's
we're
good.
going to keep it
They
in
shouldn't
and
nerf
kind of
it.
see how it rides out. We've been seeing over time that other classes have found things that are also really,
Nerf
really
it after
powerful
the
too.
season.
So we're gonna try that this season and see how it goes. But in addition to that, we've got some changes coming for Barbarian. We still get feedback that a lot of their early game is kind of tough. So we're going to be buffing up a lot of their basic skills to make the
nerf
early
needed.
game go a little bit
Just keep
smoother.
it strong.
And then we're also doing some buffs to some underused skills and upgrades. There's some examples here. We've got Strategic Ground Stomp, the ultimate cooldown reduction.
terrible movement in group content. I mean, like, when you're playing Charge and group content, like,
upgrades and the
you're
upgrade
dig anyways.
Call of the Ancients is just getting a number increase. And Gore's Devastating Grip. So this is kind of has a storied history in our game. Yeah, it was really, really good when the game launched. And now we brought it down quite a bit, and now we're increasing its power a little bit again to bring back Whirlwind builds.
Whirlwind Barbarian
so
is
the ranks
back,
of
Chad.
Whirlwind are going up from 1 to 2
Update's
to 2
coming
to
next
3,
week.
and we're increasing the amount of the explosion damage a little bit there as well. So
Honestly,
really,
I
when
like
it
this.
comes to
No
when you
nerfs
look
at
towards the
all.
Barbarian,
They're
it's
just
really
buffing
everything, 'cause
things.
We're not nerfing charge.
Congrats,
But
Barb.
also
You're even
their,
stronger.
early game and whirlwind builds will be a little bit better as well.
Now, why did we
And
nerf
again, when
overpower
we're going
again?
through all these updates for the classes, this isn't
Chat.
everything that is going in that we're showing you. You'll be able to see the patch notes very soon, but this is just a sneak peek of some of the things that are happening. So
Why
there
did
is
we
a little bit
why did
more
we
for
nerf
everything, I think, than what
overpower
we're
again?
showing today? So next we got the Sorceress. So Incinerate is a skill that we know people have had kind of a hard time really getting a lot of effectiveness out of. So we're increasing basically everything across the board.
Damage
The
increased by
is going
40%
up,
just base.
all of its
Cool.
upgrades are going up. So Incinerate players should be rejoicing.
Jesus, they're
We've also got quite a few buffs to Conjuration skills coming in.
Incinerate
so,
number one,
people that
Chad.
like using Conjurations. And then also some buffs to really generically used, underused passives and Paragon Glyphs.
Last
really
time
across the
everyone
board,
got
you're just gonna see
buffed,
some buffs to various
Necro
things.
got nerfed, Chad. Last time everyone got buffed, Necro got
For
nerfed.
players, Incinerate and really
Just saying.
Conjurations are the things that you have to look forward to. And next we've got the Druid, who's got quite a few powerful things coming. So similar to the Barbarian, you know, the Druids, we've gotten feedback that they kind of,
Okay,
you
yeah,
know,
wind
they
shear
have a
stronger,
really,
that's
really
nice,
strong
I like
late game,
that.
but their early
And
game
more
getting there
spirit,
can be
ladies and
little
gentlemen.
bit tedious to go. So we're
That's a
buffing
huge
lot
buff
of
to
their basic
Druid,
skills.
especially early
We
game.
gave an example here for the Druid with wind shear. So you can see here the spirit generation is going up, the damage is being increased, and the wild wind shear upgrade, which gives you more spirit when you hit enemies, is also going up. So really just better resource management in the early
And
game.
companions are being buffed.
And then
Ooh.
Companion Druid. So we could pretty consistently hear from players that they really want to make a companion build really work and feel good. So we've got some damage buffs across the board for all of the companions, particularly Wolves is getting quite a bit stronger. But we've got things for Wolves, Poison Creeper, and
Maybe I'll
Ravens.
have to level up a Druid finally. Chad.
And then we've got some additional buffs to some underused passives. And then last but not least, the Storm's Companion unique. So this is the one that makes your wolves howl when they do
4
some
to
lightning
5
damage
ranks
in
to
AoE.
wolves.
The ranks of wolves that you're getting is going to be increased from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And then also the Storm Howl damage, that damage that happens when the lightning bolts come down, is being increased by a lot. And so you could see here.
Enhance. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's-
you know,
that's a-
before it
that's
was
a bit
doing
of a damage
in this
increase.
example at this level, like 100 to maybe 400 damage, 150 to 400. And now it's going to be doing closer to 8 to 1300 damage per strike. And these things strike multiple times too, and in an AoE, so it's actually quite a bit.
Make companions great again for once.
So really, as far as Druids, your early game will feel better.
I still don't know why they don't give us more details,
And
Chad.
then companions, and especially wolves, are going
Like-
to be quite a bit more powerful. Next, we've got the
I feel like we're going to talk about unnecessary stuff way longer than this.
Heartseeker and Forceful Arrow,
Sadly.
their attack speeds are being increased. So, you know, when it comes to basic skills, a lot of people gravitate to
Vampiric powers
Puncture.
are coming as
It's
aspects,
really,
Chad,
really strong.
which
It
is
applies
sad and good
vulnerable,
at the
but
same
also
time,
you're
but
able to stutter
kind of
step,
sad.
and it feels really good when you cast it.
And you're just throwing knives.
Yes, and
Throwing
knife throwing
knives
is
is
cool.
rad.
I can't give everyone knives on every skill, but I also think arrows are kind of cool.
I just think there's areas for improvement.
So
Throwing knives and everything.
maybe knives on the arrows. Like,
Okay, they're
I don't know.
buffing ranged, bro.
But anyways,
Chad?
as far as how it feels to use, the 2 arrow skills should feel exactly the same as Puncture as far as how you're able to stutter step, how quickly you're able to cast them. They've been made to match. And then we also heard some feedback that Flurry isn't really feeling as good compared to the other core skills, so we're increasing its damage. And then we're also improving the functionality of both of its upgrades. They're just going to be a little bit more usable. And then Precision, everybody's favorite new change in Season 3. We're actually going to be reducing the stacks required for bonuses from 6
So
to 4.
Rogue is
this
getting
a
just
buff
buffed
to
throughout the
Precision.
board. Come on,
It's really
give
meant
me
to
Necromancer
help
changes
with
that are
actually
actually
the
good.
rhythm and the way that you
Ladies and
feel when
gentlemen,
you
I'm
cast it,
ready.
that, how often you get the proc should just feel a little bit better.
I'm somehow
use
ready
when
to
you're
get
using it in
disappointed.
combination with other skills.
Last
And then
patch we
last
get
but not least,
shafted.
we got the aspect of branching volleys. We're
about
kind
to
of
happen.
redesigning or
Ladies and gentlemen,
updating this
everyone get
legendary
ready.
quite a bit. This is with Barrage.
It's
When
happening.
your Barrage arrows bounce, they do more damage, but now we're actually adding a little bit more to it. So you can see here on the left is kind of the old version, which basically said that your arrows
Barrage
had a
arrows have a
chance to
chance
split
into
into
2
2
arrows
arrows whenever
and
they
increase the
ricochet.
damage.
And I love that zoom in.
Oh, yeah.
So now on the right,
Yeah, that's actually-
firstly,
that's
it's going
better.
to increase just the base damage of ricocheting arrows from Barrage. And then also they still keep that chance to split into 2, but that chance has also been increased by
So
quite a
ranged
bit.
rogue, they really won't.
So really this legendary just wasn't very
range rogue
powerful
to
or
work.
being used very much. And now it should be quite
I mean,
a bit better.
last time we had minions got buffed.
So yeah, as far as things to look forward to, really ranged builds I think are going to feel pretty good. And then Flurry
Season
as well
3,
is getting quite a big increase.
Necro changes. Minions got buffed.
And last but not least, we have the Necromancer, and we have a lot to cover here with Necromancer, so hold on to your butts here. So first we got minion buffs.
block, just minion buffs.
Giant block of text here. So really their damage is being increased by about 20% just across all minions. Their health is going up by about 10%.
Still
a lot
useless.
Of their passives here you can see are being increased. We've got Hellbent Commander, Cult Leader.
That one is good. The
Corporeal
corporal glyph
is a
redesign.
pretty big one, I think, that you'll be able to look forward to. So before it was that you and your minions just deal increased physical damage. Now it's also going to be giving you increased move speed for every active minion.
Yes.
So-
That one, corporal glyph is interesting.
Yeah, minion
Still not good.
builds will be moved.
Oh, Skeletal Reapers
catching up
making
with
more
their army and
corpses?
vice versa as they go through the game. We also fixed an issue with Skeletal Reapers where they were spawning too few corpses.
Okay,
so now they're
minion
gonna be
buffs.
giving a lot more corpses when you take that
Come on,
upgrade.
this is fine, chat. This is
and also
fine.
just
This is
talking about
fine.
minions a little bit. Minions
it's
is
like-
one of our big
it's
priorities
drop
to
in
kind
the,
of make
like,
feel
drop,
really good.
tiny drop,
we think
but-
that the issue with minions is not just that they're not dealing enough damage, but also we want to increase kind of the cool factor in the way that you engage with them, particularly the golem. So we do have quite a bit more coming in Season 4 that I wanted to let everybody know about. But this is kind of a little bit of a taste of what we plan to
The
do with
initial
minions.
volley.
I
of
hope there's
changes.
more
The
to
initial
Necro than
volley
just
of
minion
changes,
buffs.
Yes, we have a lot coming in Season 4 in addition to this. And then next, we've got also buffs and functionality adjustments to a bunch of other things. One example here with a passive is spiked armor. And it kind of makes sense that it would give you armor. So now it's also going to give you armor. in
Oh,
addition to
spiked armor
thorns.
gives armor.
Death's Reach is a passive that we're redesigning completely. It used to be that you dealt more damage to enemies that are far away. Now we're changing it to be Death's Advance, which really
That's
just
huge.
gives you move
The
speed.
Thorns armor
So
buff.
now,
me.
generically, Necromancer players will have a way to just put 3 points in a passive and gain additional move speed more than other
That'd
classes.
be great, yeah.
And movement
And
speed,
then we've
guys.
also got some core skill buffs, particularly to Blight, Blood Surge, and Sever. There's some number buffs, and I think even some
Oh, Blood Surge is
functionality
getting a
and
buff.
other tweaks to
And
make
Sever
the
too.
bulk of them
Ooh.
feel a lot better. So really, when it comes to Necromancer players, movement speed is the name of the game here, and also minion builds should feel quite a bit better than before.
I mean, I haven't
And
been
lastly,
using Death Reach in a while, chat. I'm
talk
fine.
with you all a little bit about
this
how
is-
we
this
do
is
our
good
updates
changes.
and the timing of them. We've run into a issue, not really an issue, but a situation that happens pretty commonly. So normally when we think about updates, in our last live stream we talked about how we
definitely
kinda
need to
made a
change some
promise
things
with
on
you
Necro
that
now.
At the start of every season, every class was going to get at least one new
Every
legendary
build
and
will
one
have
new
to
unique.
introduce like the spiked
And
armor.
what happens sometimes
It's okay,
is we'll
I
have
like it.
a new legendary or a new unique in the pipe, and we have a cool idea. We've made a new design for something. Like I'll give an example. Let's say Fireball Sorcerer, right? We have a really cool new legendary.
They're gonna
for
tell us
Fireball
we're not getting new
Sorcerer that
uniques,
we've
guys,
put
new
in, we've play
legendaries.
tested it, it's ready to go. But we don't have a new legendary for every other class to go with it, right? And we kind of run into the situation where we have to decide, like, is it okay to put something into the game when
Corporal
one
physical
class
damage
will
is
get
good,
more than
yes,
other
and the movement
classes,
speed.
right? We tend to try and keep things mostly equal when it comes to these updates. And so we kind of wanted to hear your feedback a little bit of would you be okay and would it be cool with the community if when we have more than the equal amount of other classes of updates to do, that we just put them in when they're ready, or should we wait until everybody kind of has parity on things? The other situation where this comes up quite a bit is where
We need nerfs
like,
now.
we
Nerfs
know
are
that
not
a
coming. They
build really
promised
needs
no
some
nerfs.
help.
Nerfs
Like,
are
I'll
coming end of
use,
season.
Frozen Orb as an
Jafa.
example, right? Where Frozen
Not
Orb,
before.
we want to make a new playstyle for Frozen Orb, and we want to add like 2 legendaries and a unique to really make this thing sing, right? Like just adding one power isn't enough to make this whole playstyle work. And so would it be okay if, you see in the patch notes in the season that Sorcerer gets, 2 uniques and 4 legendaries and everybody else just gets 1, but we've enabled this really cool thing? Or do you think it's smarter for
Well, don't
us to
worry,
just kinda
guys.
wait until
Tomorrow
every
we'll
class
straight
can
up have
get
a video
cool new thing of that equivalent
on how the skill tree will
amount of
look
stuff coming
like
into the game?
after the update.
So,
Don't
we're
worry.
open to feedback here. We're going to be looking at,
Don't worry.
Reddit and forums and other places.
Tomorrow,
kinda what you
Necromancer
think,
changes
but,
on
We're
video.
kind of leaning towards just putting things in when they're ready. But we wanted to turn this into a conversation and let you, the community, kind of have your voices.
So we talked longer about this than about the Vampiric Powers. Just saying, Chan.
This live stream, or I know we know that the conversations will come up regarding
That
this
timing
specific
upgrade where they
topic.
yap
So
about not
we'll
having enough
we'll be
uniques
looking
made.
around and kind of gathering community feedback on like what you guys prefer and kind of going with that, and listening in on what you guys actually want us to do. So please chime into different conversations that you guys see related to that topic, because we'll most definitely.
Yeah,
be
I don't
checking
think so.
it
Give
out
every class
and,
something or nobody
paying
gets anything.
attention.
It will just
and
feel
this is
bad.
Just a small, as Adam mentioned, this is just
If
a
someone
small
gets something
piece
and you
of
don't
what
get
we're actually
anything.
including in the mid-season update. The full patch notes are actually going to be out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we'll end up posting all those before the weekend, and players can check out the full entire patch notes. And of course, this mid-season update includes all the Vampiric Powers. It
Full
also
patch
includes
notes
Gauntlet,
tomorrow.
which
Should
we're
I
about
make
to
a video
showcase here.
tomorrow already about
So
necro
it's
changes, and then with the
pretty
patch notes
beefy,
another one?
mid-season update. And just to remind people as well, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, there's a lot.
Do you want 2 videos? Tomorrow morning, straight up, wrapped up with skill tree changes, and then another one?
We plan on doing pretty significant changes.
Why do they
of course,
feel
at
so
the
tired?
start of
I have
the
no
season,
clue.
'cause
They
it's a
feel like
brand
they
new
absolutely don't
season,
want to do
so
this.
it makes sense there. And then, you know, we
The vibe
take the
is
time
off.
to evaluate, and then we make pretty significant
vibe
changes
is here,
in mid-season
and it should be
updates
here.
as well, based off of feedback that we saw since the start of the season. And of course, you know, once we get into a new season, things change again, and you know, meta changes and class balance changes occur then. So players can expect to see that there. There is the rare occurrence, as like for instance, that you know we'll be monitoring feedback if something does come up that is like absolutely like breaking or whatever.
But it depends
that
on
we
how
may
the
end up making a tweak
Gauntlet
on
part
based off
goes.
of
If
community
tomorrow's
feedback.
video is
But
Gauntlet,
that is typically
and the
cadence
second one
that
is
we had
Necro,
talked about at the beginning of the season.
I'll make a
And we
lot of
just wanna
videos, don't
remind
worry.
Players like you can always expect these big moments during the beginning and the middle part of the season for itself.
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So the next thing we did want to talk about is the Gauntlet. You know, this is a long anticipated feature. It is the leaderboard feature essentially within Diablo 4. And we actually have a cool like showcase that we want to show you guys here. We have 3 different devs that are.
We're going to
actually
show you
gonna
a
be-
showcase.
We're going to show you a showcase.
Just this once.
Showcase. But we have 3 different devs that are going to be joining us, and they're going to be running through their build specifically through the Gauntlet itself. And we are joined by 2 Diablo partners, 2 Diablo content creators who are going to be commentating through this. This is Anna Cake Live and Macro Bioboy. Thank you guys very much for helping us out here. And our 3 devs are going to be, of course, from like here within Irvine. So they'll be playing live here within the studio.
Irvine, California.
Irvine, California.
Yeah.
Didn't Microsoft just fire a ton of people? Mirage? Ton of people could have been fired, but doesn't that mean they have to do double the work, be more motivated than ever to not get fired too? I mean, that's America end of the day. Sorry, where people just get fired without work safety.
Then a former Diablo content creator, or maybe still a Diablo content creator.
So
He's
just
like
just
behind the camera, I
You
don't
know, dude.
who will also be running through his
Be even
build,
more
through the
excited?
Gauntlet, so you guys can
I don't
actually
know.
check it out.
I live
What
in
we do
Europe.
wanna do
I'm
is we do wanna hand
self-employed.
it off
I
to
just
Anna
burned
Cake
myself
Live
out.
and Macro Bioboy, who will be running us through some of this Gauntlet stuff, and then we'll come back and we'll give you guys a few little updates about Season 4 and do some Q&A. So, Macro, Anna, take it away.
Thank you so much, Adam. Hi, everyone. I am Anna Cake Live, and I'm in
These are like Macro is a very good creator. By the way, he's a Necro creator. He does also some Necro stuff. Both are for Max Roll.
showcase of the Gauntlet.
Hi, everybody. I'm Macro Bioboy. I'm your friendly neighborhood necromancer. Yeah, Anna, this is wildly exciting. It's so great that the players finally get to get their eyes on what we're going to be expecting coming out next week. We have the Gauntlet Showcase, 3 amazing developers.
I just like
these people, they're going to show you all this stuff.
I'm okay with the Gauntlet's mediocre, chat.
Kind of bridge the gap, bring you some of that information.
I don't
about
need
the
to. I don't
mechanics
need
that
it to be
are going
good.
on,
I just don't
what
want
you're
it to
actually
suck.
seeing and what you can expect as well. So it looks like, first off, and I'm already incredibly excited for this because you know I'm a Necro boy here. We're going to be showcasing Liam Kerr on the Bone Spear Necromancer. This is like the build I'm the most excited for, and it looks like we're actually all set to hop right in. So
If he's not playing Nuclear Necro, I'm disappointed.
Here we
Okay,
go.
so
And
124,
guys, just
level
started the round.
124 guys.
First thing that we see the boss, and we just skip the boss. The Necromancer is just running, skipping the boss.
He gets
proceeding
score
into the
without
dungeon,
picking up
and
things.
currently
I thought you had to
trying
pick up these
get
proofs of
the
might. You
receipt
don't.
to the first shrine. Macro, tell me something about this shrine and about this necromancer. I know that you definitely want to share with us
8
everything
minutes.
that we need to know about this
There's
necro.
124 opponents.
Absolutely. So before I get like too deep into the Necromancer, let's basically just talk about what you're looking at in the Gauntlet. We have 8 minutes to get the highest score possible.
Yeah,
every
tier
monster that
70.
you kill, every boss that you kill, as well as some chests that we're going to see later on, are going to be dropping proofs of might. This is basically what you're getting, that teal score there on the right side, and it's speed, Utility and strategy is what we care about the most here. Monsters are going to be level 124, so this is similar to a Nightmare Dungeon 70 in difficulty. That means that you don't have to worry as much about survivability.
I want to see how much
or
damage he does to the
crazy
boss. Could you
damage
hit the boss a
numbers.
few
You need to
times,
be doing
please?
Just enough to be able to kill things as you run and
Oh,
gun.
he's melting.
Specifically
The boss is
to your
melting.
question about the pillars that we're seeing here, these unique shrines in the Gauntlet itself, we have 2 new additions to the game.
Yeah, the boss
One
is
going
taking,
to
like,
be a
it's
shrine
not,
that's
he doesn't
going
even
to
do much
respawn
damage.
all of the monsters in the dungeon.
Yeah,
That's
3.
right. It's not just
Okay.
about getting through the dungeon as fast as possible. It's about getting through it multiple times over. Secondly, we have another shrine which is actually going to increase how much score you
Okay,
get
that's just
whenever you
270.
complete any of
Okay.
those objectives that I just saw. And then right there, we actually have the return of normal shrines as well. These are going to be dropping off the bosses. Anna, what can you tell us more about these shrines and what people need to worry about strategizing with them?
Oh yeah, that's the whole this gauntlet. It's all about the strategy. The shrines gonna be always the same. They're gonna appear in the same places. And
Marauder?
the
Yeah,
shrines
they
that
have
will
level
be,
70 HP,
dropping
guys. Look
from
how
bosses
easy they're
also
dying.
will be the same.
Okay, this is
Then
interesting. Oh, this is
you
gonna
need
change a
to
lot.
Plan your trip through the gauntlet. Are you gonna kill the boss? Are you planning to use those shrines? When are you planning to use those shrines? Once again, the shrines, the special shrines from this gauntlet, they will be either resetting all the monsters in the dungeon, and here we see our necromancer just killed the boss first time, resetted this boss, and he's going back and killing him again and getting a lot of proofs of might, increasing his score. By the way, necromancer current score is already 58k. We are going
Doesn't
not
need to
bad.
play.
We are progressing further.
You don't need to
into the
play.
dungeon. The map
Litless
will
Wall.
always stay the same in this dungeon. It will stay the same.
I mean, level
for-
70 is laughable
So
on
you can
defense,
plan
Chad. You
your
don't
path.
have you don't need
you can
13k
always
armor.
choose
Like
your
11 to
way
12k
how you
armor is
progress
needed.
in this dungeon. And here we see the second shrine,
11k.
the second pylon our necromancer touched.
So to talk a little bit more about the Bone Spear Necromancer, because I could go on and on and on about this build. I think this is basically going to be everybody's first attempt at what the best meta approach to this content is. Bone Spear has a lot of great mobility as well as ability to spread damage across the battlefield. So whether you're running past monsters and gunning back behind you,
But he's
kind
not
of
playing the Black
training
River build,
monsters
guys.
along,
He's
players of
not-
Diablo
he's
3
not
would have
playing the
seen
best
similar
build.
strategies in Greater Rifts, kind of bringing all of your monsters together before you waste any time actually killing them. But whether or not you're just like front loading all of your damage and blasting through bosses so that you have that shrine moving forward. Like here we have the Blast Wave Shrine, right? This basically means that the Necromancer will be able to kill as they run, not worrying about having to spend any animation time actually casting their spells
The
themselves.
pickup speed of
And I
these
think that
proofs
this
of might is
something that
crazy,
people are gonna wanna
so you don't really have to
tune
worry about
into.
backtracking the
Not
whole
only
time.
is the Gauntlet the same every single week, so literally every monster is going to be in the exact same place. Every time that you kill a monster that drops one of the keys, those are going to be in the exact same place too. So like I said before, it's not just about doing a lot of damage, being very fast. It's about picking every single time you spend any time at all, casting a skill, doing damage, or moving. And I definitely think that Bone Spear Necromancer is uniquely positioned in this way to be able to keep that constant momentum in damage output.
Your necromancer is.
I
doing
like that it's tier
absolutely
70,
stunning.
but at the
good
same time,
current
it makes
score.
it a
We
bit
have
dull because there's no danger of
141k.
dying.
We are going absolutely not
You
bad.
know what I
Guys,
mean?
You can see in the corner there are the
So
keys.
we're just
We don't
boosting
have yet
damage
any
maximum,
keys,
no
but
damage
hopefully we're gonna
reduction,
get
no
them
armor
soon. You
maximum,
probably
no
also saw that in
disobedience.
this dungeon there are special chests, white chests, and a little bit later I think we're gonna see also yellow chests. The chests, obviously, they have a lot of proof of mights. They're helping you to increase your total score. To get the keys,
So we're
you
gonna
need to
be
kill
just
some
going
special
for
monsters.
maximum
The
damage
monsters are
and not
staying
even
the
for
same, but
survival.
when
I
you're
would have liked
entering
more
the
risk
dungeon,
of
you don't
dying, so you could fuck
which
up, because right now you
monster it
can't
is.
fuck
You'll
up.
also have to
Right, if you're a
first
decent
run a
player,
couple of
you can
times
just
through the
breathe through
dungeon,
tier
kill all the
70.
monsters, find out who is actually dropping the key, and probably focus on those monsters also.
Yeah,
Keep in
but
mind
12 was
that
a bit of a
you need
challenge, so you
probably
could
kill
die in
them,
there.
couple of them to be able to
That's
open
what
the
I'm
chest.
talking about.
By the way, we went right back to the beginning of the dungeon, and probably our necromancer now decided to finish our first boss, our Tom Lord, that is waiting here.
That's the most annoying boss in
We
the whole
have
really
game.
2
important
minutes,
to-
30 seconds left. 30 seconds left.
It's really
Sir, don't
It's really
forget to
important to
put your...
recognize that too. So the Tomb Lord, he's a boss that is notorious for moving. And if you're a boss that moves, you're basically the antithesis of a Bone Spear Necro. wants to keep you in a very specific place. So maybe it's not kill every single pack of monsters. Maybe it's not whittle down every single boss.
Okay, so now we killed everything and nothing's left in the dungeon? Or you have to remember where something's left?
You can make that part of your overall strategy.
I'm not impressed with the Gauntlet. I think it's more fun to play than watch.
As much score as possible. Probably the best part about all of this, and it's something that like you might not have picked up on.
And obviously trying to max your score.
Every single time you kill a monster,
but it does look dull right now. I will have to say that. I haven't experienced it yet, so I mean the experience might be better than watching it, right?
Your only concern is running through this at breakneck speed.
Yeah, that's kind of like the thing. Like, just be as fast as possible and not as
score. The ability to know exactly where everything is, having that map fully explored, and then eventually memorizing it as the week goes on.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 day play, and then you wait for next week update.
As we optimize our builds, and as we bring better strategies and better timing, better routes through this. It really calls back to my speedrunning history in Diablo 2 and a little bit
I'm like, this calls for a certain type of player that wants to min-max this experience, right?
Between ranking top 1 on the leaderboards or just barely cracking through to that top 1,000. But we're honestly seeing a really great showing from the Necromancer here.
If he was the Black River build, he would be doing better.
Cracked 200,000 score. That's actually pretty impressive for this build. I think that Liam's doing a fantastic job showcasing what I think most Necro players' first experience is going to be walking into this content.
Oh,
they should have done tier 100. I want to say yes, but most people already are unable to do a tier 100 normal. Chat, let's be real. Most people are unable to do tier 100 normal. Would a tier 100 really been the thing?
Shrines probably reset.
Honestly, I'll play a no. Okay, so what I'm gonna play is a no Bone Storm or a no.
Able to kill a lot of monsters and also increase the total amount your current
no Lilith Wall Necro for sure.
Reaching 200k.
T-Bald's Will and Metamorphosis, Chan.
Looks good.
It's coming back, really good full damage. Fuck everything else.
Get over 200k.
Like seriously, this is just gonna be booming, maximum aggressive.
You know, if you've already cleared out that part of the dungeon, going back through,
it's just speed.
There's no more
that's gonna be like, I mean,
great showing for the next.
I'll enjoy making builds for this. I don't know how much I'll enjoy playing this, but I'll enjoy making builds for this.
Total results screen. You can see here your
right, Chad. I mean that's the score. He zoomed through. He had fun. He killed things. Shadow Necro is already out of the equation. Maybe Shadow Wave Necro might work, but I'll have fun making builds for this.
And our Necromancer, yep, Mako was absolutely right here. Our Necromancer was showing insanely good gameplay. Seal of the World.
Everybody can do this. Well, that was the intention.
You can reach as a player. Tell us more about the seals. What you can say. I know that there are 4 of them. How are they going to work?
So you start all the way down from Seal of the Blooded and then all the way up to Seal of the Worthy.
What's the loot?
What this basically means is that just going through the Gauntlet at all is going to get you that first seal, but you're going to have to crack through higher and higher amounts of total score to rank up to the highest.
Well, we get it next week already, chat. So 6 more days and you can play this.
The majority of this truly
and then you can still trash it.
But at the end of the week, not only are you going to get a cash just for running the Gauntlet every time, you know, a small amount of items just to say like, hey, good job, you spent your time. But on top of that, if you actually reach the end of the week and you've reached the Seal of the Worthy, you're going to get all of the caches for the 4 seals below that. You're going to get automatic 925 item power that can be ancestral legendaries. It can even increase all the way up to a unique. So it's a much better incentive for people who don't just care about the ego part of it. You know, they're like, hey, I participate. I want to get something out of it. You do too. And being able to get that loot at the end of the week is that nice little cherry on top.
Yeah, and I think that we are ready for our second player.
When if I want loot, I'll go dungeons. I'm not going to play the leaderboard.
By the ball like
right?
Sorcerers, guys. John Constable, senior gameplay engineer, gonna be showing us the Sorcerers gameplay, the Sorcerers Gauntlet. Let's go.
This isn't endgame content. Well, it was never meant to be endgame content. This was meant to be leaderboard content.
Again, guys, the same map.
If you're looking for a challenge, Diablo 4 is the wrong game for you. Because let's be fair, also, Diablo 4 is easy as cakes.
Choosing the same,
so we gotta say one thing, Chad. Like Diablo 4 is not hard. Nothing in Diablo 4 is hard. I mean, Lilith maybe to a degree, but the game is for like children easy. Now you might struggle with a tier 100, but that's mostly a knowledge thing. Right? If you can't beat tier 100, it's not because you're bad. It's not because it's hard. It's because you're lacking the knowledge to gear yourself properly up. Damage reduction, armor, resistance, blah, whatsoever. Or your build stinks. Not a skill issue. You know? Not a skill issue. You just need a bit more, you know,
Yeah,
input.
have gold,
And
lightning, gold,
by the way, their
lightning,
encoder is
sin,
bad
metal,
because this
Russia's
graphic is
green,
breaking.
buff,
I wanna
gold,
rehash
gold,
their
lightning,
encoder settings.
damage with multiple with the power of.
I mean, look how much faster Sorcerer is. My thought is right now, like, I mean, like look how fast our poor Necro was, and like that's the Sorcerer just teleporting through, huh? I feel like a joke, Chad. So yeah, I mean, this was always meant to be weekly content for everyone. Okay, Chad? This is simply meant to be weekly content that everyone can do, that everyone can participate in. If it was higher than tier 70, it wouldn't work. Now, I agree, I would like this to be tier 100.
Do this.
But that's my
On top
personal
of that,
tryhard
every
likes
class,
and not what
every
makes sense for the
ladder
game.
that you're in is
right?
actually judged individually. So the necromancers are going to be judged against other necromancers, sorceresses against other sorceresses, so
You
on
didn't
and
pick
so
up the
forth.
proofs of might.
So where some builds may not have the mobility, but they have the boss kill speed, or maybe they have the density clearing, but not the mobility, the exact strategy for each individual class is going to really make or break what ends up being the meta for the Gauntlet, which is one of the things that I think is the most interesting about
Are you going
this.
to play the Gauntlet in a team
Whereas
chat,
things
or
like
is
the
it solo?
Avatar of Zero really just
I
pushed
can't
us
see
to the
myself
question
playing with
of
anyone
how
else
do you do
together.
the most damage and survive the most damage.
Because I'm a
Here,
Necro and
some
I'm
of those
slow.
Considerations aren't really as important. We're playing a different game at this point. But the ball lightning sorcerer is like
Yeah, I
amazing
can't
mobility,
I
great
can't like
density
imagine
clearing.
you're
You
Necro
notice
and you're
that
playing
slowed
together with a
down a little
sword.
bit against that boss, though.
Like ways to feel
Depending on the
inadequate,
scenario,
right?
This might be one of those
I mean,
builds
we're
where you
getting
basically
movement
ignore
speed
the
buffs,
bosses
chat, and
whenever
now we'll have
possible,
to see
unless
how
they
we
have a
can integrate
particularly
movement
juicy
speed buffs
shrine that you really
into
wanna give
the Necros
views
somehow.
moving through.
I mean, you
Here
could
we
technically
have
take your minions
increased,
with you just for
favor
bonus
drops.
movement
we
speed.
got the reset there, so he's actually able to pop right back into that room.
Oh
We
yeah,
just
with your
got a
son
shrine, kill
duel,
this
but
boss
Frankie,
again.
that's amazing. So GG.
Just really interesting to see what kind of meta is going to develop as we get further and further into the season.
Yeah,
Like Diablo
here
Sweaty
we
again.
see.
I
Actually,
think these
yeah,
times are
also
over, at
going
least for
pretty
D4.
good. Yeah, on the bosses.
I hate
Probably,
to
it's
be
worth
the
it to
person
stay
to
here.
bring you
You
these
can to
news,
spam the pylon
but Diablo and
and
Sweaty,
to
I mean, the
use
Abba
the
12
power
Zir
of
was sweaty
And
somewhat.
guys, gonna tell you
But I
a
think
little
after the
secret.
feedback to the
You
Abba 12
better
Zir, we
not
won't get
buy
something like
in the
that back
Gauntlet.
again anytime soon.
Hardcore
Because
players,
this
yeah,
is what
I understand,
happens,
but
Chad.
for soft
They
players,
tried
if
something
you
sweaty with
gonna
Abba 12
die,
Zir.
You're gonna lose the third of your score.
Okay, guys, they tried something sweaty with Abba 12 Zir. And well, this is the result. Because I think a lot of people were not happy with Abba 12 Zir and the level of difficulty and the level of grind was needed. And now we have the counterpart. You technically don't even need grind to participate here. If you have a level 100 character with decent gear, you can participate. Obviously, the better your gears, the better you can participate, but you can participate. Okay? You can be part of this. Even with your shittiest average dad, mom, working at the steel mill, having 12 children, your wife or your husband nagging that you're playing Diablo again. Even Dave and Cindy can participate in the leaderboard. So what are the positives so far, guys? We're getting Vampiric Powers, 6 of them back as aspects. That's somewhat positive. I didn't check, is meta a utility aspect? I have them saved out, so be happy. Metamorphosis is a movement aspect, so you can put it on boots. Meta is a movement aspect, so you can put it on boots. And we can become unstoppable again. So that's a huge update. We'll talk more about this after the presentation is done.
Way all the way up to that key,
you know,
knowing that you pass by a gold chest in your typical.
Yeah, aspect is a premium for Necros. I think I can still integrate it.
Or is that just?
I can't integrate most of them, but like we get this one
dichotomy there where it's just like, depending on where the keys are spawning.
Blood
on the
boiling
monsters in
offensive
that week's
aspect.
Gauntlet, maybe they are huge. Maybe they're pivotal.
I mean, there's not like honestly, Chad. It's okay if I don't show you this for a second, right? Because this is boring. Honestly, this is right now boring. So we're getting Blood Boil back, and Blood Boil gives us an overpower every 20 seconds. That's kind of nice. Then we're getting Undying back. Undying heals us. A Curse Touch gives us Vampiric Curse and Vulnerable. No, what the fuck? Insane for Blood Surge. No way. So you get Vampiric Curse and Vampiric Curse is Vulnerable. That's insane for Blood Surge. Okay, that's really good. Then you have Metamorphosis, and that's back as a Amulet and boots. So meta is only possible to be put on boots. Then we're getting Moonrise. Moonrise is useless for Necro at least. And lastly, we get Hectic, which is also kind of useless for Necro mostly. But I think overall, like, I can use Blood Boil for my blood builds. Should be possible. And I am definitely going to be using meta in most of my builds because T-Bolts will. I mean, imagine playing a Necromancer with T-Bolts will and the Metamorphosis boots.
Will be the key. Your path through this dungeon, this will be what's
Aspects is F.
And yes,
You know,
the leaderboard
Aspects
will
is
be
F,
moving
that it
from
is
day
Aspects.
one,
It's
and on the very
really
last day,
the
someone
weakest way they
gonna
could have done
sneak
it.
in and will be the
I will have
top
to
of
say.
the leaderboard.
I would have preferred
Yeah,
Vampiric Powers to
interesting
come back
times
as
are ahead.
gems.
Our sorceress, guys,
Or even
closing
nerfed by
almost
50%
200K,
as
and we entered this beautiful
just
room
the
with
system
a
they
lot
were
of
before.
chests.
As
We
aspects,
have-
I
we
find
had
them very
two
weak,
keys. We
especially
opened
who's
one
going to drop
chest,
these
we opened the
aspects.
second chest. We are
Chad?
getting a lot of
I mean,
achievements.
imagine in
We
order
are
to get these
really,
aspects,
really
you will
close
have to
the
farm now
200K,
Lord Zier.
and
They're not
we are
dropping any
moving
wells.
forward.
Then we're screwed.
White chest and yellow chest, they both actually cost
Right?
only one key to open.
It would make you
But
too strong, yeah, but
obviously,
who
the
cares
yellow
about
chests,
too
they are
strong?
bigger, they are shiny.
I mean, it's an ARPG where you're fighting against yourself.
So yeah, you need to focus. You need to prioritize if you can. You need to prioritize the yellow chests. We reached 208K. 43 seconds
Mm-hmm.
left.
The other thing that I just really want to hammer on here is, again, so
The
this
creation and
sorceress's
destruction of content is
score, although it's
definitely in
going
a
to be
game
little bit
devoid of
higher than the
content.
Necros that
It
we
is
just saw, not by a
quite
country mile or
confusing how
anything,
they're not
but
like
this score
keeping
is
more
insular to
content
this
from
one
what
leaderboard.
already
The
worked in the
sorceress's score is
game.
only going to be compared against everybody else
Lord
running
Zier's
the
easy.
sorceress.
Well,
While
getting
you
the
can
materials for
check
Lord
your
Zier is
ego
just
and
the
check against
problem.
the other necromancers, that has no impact at all looking at any other class about how you're going to rank in that leaderboard, whether or not you're going to be immortalized in the halls forever.
So I'm not sure how this is being perceived right now on the mainstream. I mean, like, let's see the positive about the leaderboard right now, chat. I will definitely log in every week. I will check out the design of the map. I will see which build is the best. I will try to get top 1,000, right? And I'll probably do this for 1 or 2 days. Let's say 4 to 8 hours. It could be worse. I mean, I could not want to play it at all, right? So that's right now how I feel about this, right?
A good part in my min-max brain there.
It's going to give me at least
it's
some
really,
weekly
really nice to
gameplay.
see actually what I
Despite me
accomplished, how many
not
poor
being super
demonic
enthused about
souls
the
I
design.
sent back to hell. Yeah, I can understand. And yeah, we got the reward immediately after each time when you're entering the
Yeah,
Gauntlet,
it
you're
sounds
gonna be getting
okay-ish
a
right now.
small reward,
And
you're
this
gonna
is
be getting
this
a
is
big reward
this is
in the
what I
end of
wanted. I
each
wanted
week,
something okay,
depending which series
right? It
you,
sounds like a weekly quest. Yes, it sounds like a shore you can do weekly.
We
you want
are
to.
preparing our
I mean, it's a
player.
reason
We're
to log
preparing
in.
Life, and he's almost
if you
ready.
need a
He's gonna be
reason.
joining us with a barbarian, with a Hota charge barb. I know everyone wanna see it.
Copium.
So he's gonna be crashing it really, really soon. Yeah,
Charge
guys.
Hoda Barb.
What I'm asking myself currently is, why did they push it back? Because, I mean, why? Nothing seems to have changed. It's like the same as it was announced, right? It's a good addition, but not game breaking.
sharing,
Exactly.
you know,
This
anecdotal
is a
stories.
good. This is
Let's see
good
this Hoda
content, but
Big
not.
boy,
I think
big
not what a
sword.
lot of
Let's
people are
see.
looking
Excited for
for.
this.
Let's see.
Right? So
Yep.
so I
Just
think
doing
right
Hoda
now
Barb, thanks.
the problem
No,
the
he
problem is
decided
not
that 15 million
how do I say this
overpowered
right
was
now?
The way he
The-
wanted to approach this
like this is
scenario.
not bad. It's just merely not what people were hoping for.
But the charge
Right?
Hoda Barb. So this is, I think this is kind of like the apex predator of this type of content.
Chat.
We are working with a mobility skill in charge that's also going to be.
And
able to
I
clear
think
the
I think
track
like
for
right
you.
now
You have
that's the
giant
biggest
Hoda
problem
smashes so you
obstacle
can
we're
bring down
facing.
bosses quickly,
So
as long as he
people
has
are gonna
all
like
his buffs
playing
going
this.
up.
People are going to
Basically
have
being able to
fun
meld
playing
these
this,
two concepts
but it's
together
not
is
what
every
a lot of the people
class
were hoping
build
or looking
strategy
forward to.
is ultimately gonna
And
have to look
especially
for.
people that are looking for a
Maybe
challenge,
you're running double mobility
they're not getting a
aspects,
challenge
both one
here.
on your boots and one on your amulet, as opposed to worrying about putting
The demo is
other
dull
damage
and never
aspect there.
ending.
Because
Yes, they
again,
would have done
remember,
themselves
these
a
monsters are
favor
level
only showing this
124.
once,
Means that they're
because I
30
think we
levels lower than
understood
any
after
tier
the
100
first
content
one
you're
how this
doing,
works.
and I figured this guy was
Right?
about
I
to
mean,
get
this
two
is,
shot.
you don't need a
Give him little
doctor
bit
to
more of a
understand
fight here.
this,
Let's see.
right?
There we
I mean,
go,
it's like,
11. GG.
yes, you go through,
channeling
you
shrine,
activate the
more
shrines,
mobility,
you need to
not worrying
find a
about resource.
certain order in
This
which
is-
way to activate the
this is
shrines.
what we're
Maybe
looking
you go
for in
left
Gauntlet
first, maybe you go
content.
right first,
This
like,
power.
because you know,
Jeez.
the bosses
All
are
right,
always
calm
at the
down.
same location.
We need something to be able to talk
like
about
you
here,
know,
otherwise
there's a
I'm avoiding.
respawn shrine always at that location, so
No, he's
so you
absolutely
kind of
smashing, he's
find out
absolutely
the way how you
destroying,
want to do
but
this, how you want to
like this, if
respawn
you're not gonna
everyone,
plan, you're gonna
and
soon
then
run
and then
out of
like do it
monsters.
again,
You
right?
need to focus on where actually the shrines that are resummoning the monsters.
Because right now you've seen
And
3
yeah, hopefully
playthroughs,
he
but
has
since the
plan.
leaderboard is
Yeah,
always
he's
the same,
absolutely flying through this dungeon,
I'm
picking up
like, it's the
everything.
interesting part
His
that every
score
playthrough is the
already
same, right? And you can min-max.
64K.
But at the same
Quite
time, like if
insane.
you're an avid
And,
Diablo 4
yeah,
viewer on
if I
on
click
Twitch, for
on
example, or
our
YouTube,
Leviathan, by the way,
you're
he
essentially going to
was
see
one of
someone
the
do the
best
same
demon
dungeon that
hunters
is
that
exactly the
plays in
same
Diablo 3 back in the
X
days.
times to
And,
try to optimize
now
their score.
I'm absolutely understandable.
I mean,
why
it might be
he's
interesting to
smashing
see
all
someone
these
try to
Vampiric
optimize their
Powers.
score, but just from a
And
mere viewing experience,
What
Um,
is also
I
really,
assume it's going to
really
get
cool
old quick.
that you need to obviously memorize the
I think
map.
it's good
You
that
need
it's tier 70 for a
memorize
niche build.
where all the
See,
monsters
let's
are. You
not
need to
let's
memorize
for a
where the
second let's
shrines
not
are.
talk about that this is too easy. Chris is making a good point here. Chad. Chris is making a good point here. So everyone can use it on tier 70, but you can also use more niche meme tier builds and see how well they perform. I mean, I have a Blood Wave build that I really want to test out here, because the Blood Wave build has some tanking issues in tier 100 where it might die at times. But in a tier 70, like, I'm gonna just poop on everyone, right? So it's kind of like the intriguing question at how well would that now work in a tier 70? Probably still not better than Bone Spear, because, you know, Bone Spear #1. But it's still like to the point where you could also try out minions. How well are minions going to do? Especially Ring of Mendeln minion builds or something like that. I think this is a good addition. It's just like people's expectations. So people's
Being able
expectations
to
were here.
basically,
They were hoping for
Lily Hopper, like, you know,
Gauntlet
frog
to
hop
give
over
them
these shrines,
the
always
end game
maintaining at
experience
least
where they
one
can sink
constant
in
buff for them
400 hours.
might be a way of being
And,
able to add on mobility to a
like,
build that
right
doesn't
now,
normally
it's looking
have
more
it.
like a
So maybe you're
weekly
huge boss killer
5-hour
where you can't feel
experience,
mobility
right?
anywhere. As long as you can plan out how often you get these
So the minion build, I mean, there might be a Mendel minion build that could work for this, because minions on a tier 70 is different than minions on a tier 100.
Like,
You
there's
know?
so many things that you could be picking out of here, right?
Need way more
Stopping at
competitive stuff,
individual
more
little
reasons to
monster
build your
packs to make
character
sure
to the
that
max,
you're maintaining
Dansky.
your
I
buffs,
mean, right now
so you're
there's
not
absolutely
necessarily
zero
killing
reason
them,
to
or
build
they're
your
not
character
high
to the max.
value.
Yes,
You know
I
that you're
mean,
gonna be
apart from being the
operating
number
at
one on the
maximum
leaderboard,
efficiency, you
but
walk into the next
that's
room,
not enough.
where we
I mean, like,
always will know
yes,
there will
there
be an
should
elite
be more
monster, or
casual
will always be a
content that
boss
needs you
monster
to
in one of
max out
these
your
titles
character.
here. My brain is going crazy right now. The
At
more that I
61
see
million
from this
damage.
content, it's
Huge.
just like so exciting to have something to like really strive for in this game, right? We got the gear, we finished.
I mean, I'll definitely try to get top 1,000, Chad. I'll definitely try to get top 10. I'll definitely try to get top
Here's what
100.
we do with it. Now we actually have something to test those builds, to re-theory craft on top of.
Looking forward to
Not
having fun
mention all
with
the
Boulder
changes
Shred
coming
build,
in this
fly
patch
through this.
alone. I'm gonna have to rethink all
Exactly.
the builds I was
A lot of
expecting to be able
builds
to
are not
bring
made
into
for
here and
tier
test
100
them.
dungeons
That's
because they lack in the defensive department.
The biggest
But
chagrin I got
I mean,
is,
I
geez,
can
gotta come
try
up with all brand
the
new builds to
ugliest,
incorporate
most
vampire powers, as well
annoying,
as whatever
crazy,
changes actually come to, like, the
like,
skills
offensive
themselves as
build.
well.
just
Here,
for
macro is starting to
this,
be
right?
starting
I mean, think
already
about your class right
He's
now.
already stuck here. I'm turning left. Here I'm turning right. Here I'm touching this. We already in the process of creating the guide how to do it. Our barbarian 200.
Macros being positive, right? Well, I mean, like, you have two choices as a creator. You can now whine and moan,
It was actually really, really cool.
or
We're
you
already
can
saying
see
that
the
every
fun that is
character has
possible to be
their
had.
separate leaderboard.
Because no
Also,
matter
every
how
character has
disappointing
the
this
amount
might
of
be
score, the
from
total
some
score, the amount,
sides, there
proofs
is
of work
content to be
you
had
need to
here.
earn
There
to
is
be
fun
able
to be
reach
had here.
different seals,
Not fun
also
for everyone, and not everyone is going to
different
like this.
characters.
But
And this
that
is
there is
absolutely amazing
fun is
because you
viable.
You don't have to compete with different classes in
You know?
any way. and this is great.
I mean,
You
I will
also
have my
to
fun
place
with this.
leaderboard
I won't
3
have
players
like
leaderboard, 4 players
7 days a
leaderboard.
week
In
fun
total,
with this.
Together with the
That's a
hardcore,
fact.
we're getting 16 leaderboards here.
But I will have some
Amazing.
fun
and
with
it's all
this.
coming already next week. There gonna be a lot of fun here. Leviathan is moving really.
At T100, I wear
quick.
damage
2
reduction
minutes
pants on both
left.
characters.
We
T-Bald's
are
will.
hitting
Chat.
226K.
T-Bald's will is
It
returning
going
on all my
second
characters
run.
now.
Basically, he
Screw
is
this. I've been playing
going
damage reduction
again,
pants with
repeating
triple damage
against
reduction
run, but
stat.
reset it all
Like,
monsters.
fuck.
You guys here,
Out of the window.
really good
Meta
choice.
in, T-Bald's will in,
choices.
every
Have
single build.
really good chances.
What is
That's
happening?
that's a
If you
secret
just joined, this
substat
is
that
the
I wish we
leaderboard
could
right
see on
now,
this
where you
board. How
go
many total
through, kill
miles or
bosses, get
kilometers
score,
have
and then you
run
go
through this
leaderboard.
individual gauntlet? 'Cause I'm pretty sure
And
Leviathan
like
has cleared this thing out already
the
3
part
times
about the
over,
dungeon
and
is
he's
where
still
it's
got a
always
full
the
minute and a
same,
half left on the timer here.
and every single
Definitely gonna
boss
crack over
opponent
300K
spawns a
as long as he
shrine,
doesn't hit a dry patch
and these
where nothing
shrines
had
can
been
respawn
respawned
every
yet.
single
But
mob.
the dude's great at
So
what he
you
does.
essentially
There's a
end up
reason why you
redoing the
anchor
same
him here,
dungeon
being able to show off the best
in
of the
one
best.
run, 4 or 5 times
And
in a
the
circle.
other interesting part,
And
something
you
that
gotta
we didn't
find
quite
out how
touch
to
on
do the
is
circle the
you
most
don't
efficient.
just get the rewards from one ladder. There's nothing stopping you from going and doing this on your barbarian, doing this on your alternate
Right?
necromancer, doing this in multiple group
Barb
types.
is absolutely
You
broken.
can
I mean,
theoretically
like,
hit the top
right
of
now I
every
see
single
Barb
ladder.
as you're
If
ruining your
you
own
know,
fun,
a
personally.
crazy master grinder
Because,
like Wudijo,
like,
maybe you go
I know
craft
Necro is
softcore
slow.
and
I know
hardcore ladder
Necro has
too.
its
Why not?
limitations. Yes,
There's
they made
nothing stopping
Necro
you from
faster, and it's going to be
competing in as many
interesting.
of these arenas as you
And
have
I will have
builds
to
be able
integrate all the new
support
movement
that
speeds
competitive
into
nature.
every single build
I'm
I make.
only gonna
So
worry
that's
about
where we're
the
going to go,
necromancer. I
right?
don't have it in my
But
brain to
I
think
kind of
about a
like
single
working with
other class
limitations,
with how
and
much I need
I
to
don't
worry about
I don't
berry
feel like
crafting
Barb
this
has
one.
any limits.
But I'm wondering who's going to be
You
able
know,
to, like,
so if
collect
you have a
the
character that has a
most
weakness
top
like movement
leaderboard
speed,
spots,
you got to figure out
you know,
how do you
eating
make
them
it
all up.
move better. And if you have a character that has no limits,
Community challenge.
um,
Be able to be
which
number
challenge are you
1 on
trying to overcome?
16 leaderboards? Okay, I'm wondering
you
who
know,
that's
I
gonna
use my
be
Barb to
now
farm the boring stuff to make it faster. See,
when
that's a
competition
reasonable
will be in the
take.
game. We have,
Right?
guys,
Use the Barb
10,
for the
30,
boring
more than
stuff and
10
use the other
seconds
characters
left.
for the
We're
fun
gonna hit
stuff.
300K,
Come on,
I'm
Leviathan.
pretty sure.
300K,
Come on,
boy.
oh, come on, find
That's what we need to
something,
see.
someone.
He did too good. He
Almost.
killed everything already.
Leaderboards are for EP and
So
losers?
close,
Nah, I
Bob.
don't think so. Like,
So
you don't
close.
even have to, like, participate in the leaderboards. You can just try to get top 1,000 for the Seal
That's
of Worthy and for the
crazy.
loot.
81 monsters, 53 elites, 9 bosses. Obviously, the most that we saw out of any showing.
There
but
is, I
phenomenal
mean, there's
job
loot
here
to be
by
had.
Leviathan,
I mean,
as
if
always.
the
It's
leaderboard
exactly
in the
what
top
we
1,000 had
expected from them.
guaranteed uniques, I'm in.
Yep, had
Or Uber
absolutely
uniques,
zero
I'm
doubt.
in.
Macro, I
mean, the top 10 players,
I'm
they should all get
really
Uber
excited,
uniques.
and I really like that you can
I'm
get
gonna be farming.
not only
There's no
the
tomorrow.
rewards that we're getting, it's a weekly activity. We're
Mm-hmm.
getting the new map absolutely every single week. And we're getting the rewards in the end of every single week. We're also getting the rewards after every single run. And yep, I'm happy.
I wish
that
it wasn't the
people
new
who are
unique
probably
has
not
that, like,
seduced by
we,
the
right now they didn't say
leaderboard
anything
will
about new
be
uniques, to be
anyway
honest.
tempted
They
to
were
try
blabbering
it
on about
and
not
to
having enough for
see
every
maybe
class.
the leaderboard, maybe the Gauntlet is something for them. Interesting, really.
Bro, meta, it would be
really
great for the
excited
Bloodlands
about
build.
what's waiting for us
Like,
next
see,
week.
meta
What are you
in tier
excited
100
about
Bloodlands build is not
Gauntlet
going to
one?
happen because you don't have
I
the
mean, if I
aspects.
had to pick just one thing, it really comes down to this idea of
think.
developing a strategy over a week. You know, we realize, right? You know, as content creators, as streamers, we have a bit of privilege
Especially because
here.
they
The
nerfed
funny part being
meta.
that everybody's
We'll-
going to
we'll
be able
talk
to
about
watch
this
your
in a second.
strategies. If you're making videos about it, if you're going over strategies, discussing it, basically it's out there. It's open for people to be able to see.
I can see it
So being able
used
to
to
come up with
fast
these-
level
maybe a little
tunes.
secret strategy. Maybe you save it till just the last couple days, and you actually
mean, you have
finally
vaults for
test it
that.
out. That's probably what's going to be the most exciting for me. It's just this idea.
If it becomes
of
anything like D3
it's
there,
not
boards
just
full of
about
bots and
damage,
hackers, I
it's
think
not just
more
what's
full of
happening in gear,
Chinese right
it's
now
How good of a plan can
because
you get?
they're just more
actually
tryhard
create,
than
and
us.
how well can you execute on it? Which, like,
You know,
truly tests
that's
the
probably what's
player's
going to happen.
skill in a way that the other content in the game just currently doesn't offer. But I think that's just going to go ahead and do it for us. This has been such a pleasure, Anna. Thank you very much for sharing this with me.
Boring
I hope that
gameplay,
everybody really
honestly,
enjoyed what
it's
they saw
definitely not
here.
fun watching gameplay.
I
That-
actually
like,
hope so too.
I
And
can say
yeah,
this from a
Marco,
content creator creator perspective, this is no fun watching gameplay, and I've seen fun gameplay, right? Like if you like the creator and if you want to see how well a build does, yes. But after the 5th or 6th try, it's getting rather dull. So making like a 5-hour stream where you only play leaderboard, because that 5-hour stream would be the same dungeon and the same dungeon and the same dungeon. You get it, right? Right, John? I mean, are you gonna watch someone 5 hours long bash their head in trying to do the same dungeon over and over again with the same build?
Thank you so much, Macro,
Yeah.
Anna, for taking us
great.
through that. Of course, our 3 volunteers from the dev team. We got John, we got Steven, and Liam for running through.
Yeah, everybody did great. Yeah.
Steven actually hit, actually all of them hit higher
You know-
scores than
you know
we
what
did
I'm
when
talking
we were
about,
first
right?
Running through this.
They
So
did.
They were learning.
So
they
I
were-
think
they
it's
were
gonna
learning
be
the
fun
dungeon,
playing. Don't
because,
get me wrong.
again,
It's gonna be
with
fun playing,
Gauntlet,
Chad.
it is a
And
weekly
every week,
dungeon
every
that does
Monday,
get
That's
over.
fixed.
or
Every
whenever the
spawn,
reset is, we're gonna have
every
fun
coming
going through
every
this.
chest location, every key drop, like every boss, every shrine. Yeah, it's all fixed every time. You
But
do
it was
runs.
depressing.
That's what allows you to have
Like,
that-
I'm
that
saying this
sense
as the
of-
content
yeah, I
creator
know
who
a little
makes
bit
money
more
from
about the
this.
space
It
now. I can run it again.
like
I'll do a little bit
it
better.
wasn't their strongest.
It makes a huge difference.
This was
Yeah,
this
and
was
I know
definitely not
with,
their strongest thing they've
we
shown
saw some
in a while.
questions of like players, you know, are going like, hey, because we have 3 different classes here, and again, they're all on their own unique leaderboards themselves.
Yeah, every class has its own unique leaderboard. So when you're
But the
playing,
feeling Joe and
when you're
Adam
playing,
can't stand each
Charged
other.
Barbarian for the season, you're playing against other barbarians. You know, for
The
on the
vibes are
leaderboard.
off, for
But
sure.
we also have 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player leaderboards as well for players who want to get into parties and try to compete. So we think that's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I know in regards to rewards and stuff, like depending on the seal that you get, you'll actually
Blue shirt
get
guy looks
more,
depressed. He always looks depressed,
caches,
Chad.
caches
That's his
themselves,
thing.
Offer up a 925.
Also, blue shirt guys, Adam and Adam.
in each cache. So I believe if you
Driss,
get
thank you for the
a
111
seal
months.
reward, you end up getting
Ladies and gentlemen,
each
111
time.
months of
It's-
subs.
And these aren't exactly like the idea of Gauntlet itself is really aspirational. So there are opportunities for players themselves to, of course, earn them.
So, chat, we just half-assed all the other content to watch 3 Gauntlet runs that were all 3 the same.
Put it on your resume.
That's why we
type of thing.
half-assed all the other content.
For forever, for each week in the Hall of the Ancients, depending on where you actually land on the leaderboards.
Yeah,
which
we don't really want to see the Gauntlet and the Trials feature as a place where players go to try to get gear for their builds. Really more of a place where players are going to go once they've got like really good.
Everyone will demolish, but min-maxing the strat to the top will be a whole new approach. Absolutely. For the people that really want to do it.
Based on their highest ranking, they're going to get a cache like you called out. And there's a high chance of unique items actually appearing in these caches as well. So you can get 925 uniques out of these. But again, these are really like, more augmenting other things you've been collecting over the course of the season, not like being the primary reason that you're going to this.
I mean, like, if you're doing the leaderboard,
we
usually
actually have a
getting
blog that's going
uniques, you're
up after the
usually
stream that actually
leaderboard
details
out,
all
right?
the information in the Gauntlet, including some other rewards as well for players that hit like the really high ranks of where they can potentially earn some cosmetic items as well for Gauntlet. So Gauntlet again hitting next
I mean,
Tuesday.
this
And I know
Gauntlet,
like, the first
grandfather
couple
for
weeks, we wanna
Necro
make
might
sure
be
that players are
mandatory.
jumping in, trying it out.
Yes.
Especially with these new changes that are coming with the mid-season update, the Vampiric Powers and everything like that. And then let us know what you guys think, and then post up feedback on Reddit, forums, social media. We're going to be checking it out for Gauntlet, making any tweaks if we need to make any tweaks. And then I know we actually have a cool contest that's coming up here, starting on that's tied back to Gauntlet. It's actually starting on March 19th. We're calling it Leaderboard Legends, but the top players in each of the leaderboards, and there are again leaderboards for all the different classes, for all solo, and at the same time for hardcore as well. So if you play in hardcore and if you die in a Gauntlet, your character's gone. It is hardcore for that reason. So, but we will have opportunities for players to actually earn an exclusive art print from an artist named Mika Ulrich. He's a huge Diablo fan.
Did you show the
he
print?
actually is making a customized art print. That contest itself will be running for 2 weeks. So we'll have more information on that contest as we get closer to
did you show
March,
the print
March 19th.
when you're talking
For players
about
that
it?
do compete on the leaderboards, they'll have the opportunity of actually
I'll win
earning,
that contest, chat, by the way.
exclusive, like customized art print as
Yeah,
well,
imagine
which is
dying in a
really
level
cool.
70 Gauntlet, then you
So,
get different
Gauntlet
problems.
shipping next Tuesday, and it'll be in our mid-season patch notes.
chat,
that we
on
have,
Tuesday already.
Going
Come on,
up,
Tuesday.
tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
and we have a blog going later today with a lot of stuff posting. So, really cool
So much stuff
going on.
happening
Yes,
now here at the back
exactly.
end. Yeah.
One thing we did want to hit on, and this is some pretty big news from our end. One is it's an update regarding Season 4, and I know Joe.
Yeah.
wanted
I hope
to
this
talk a
is
little
more
bit about
exciting than the Gauntlet.
I'm very excited. So we've been talking about Season 4 a little bit, but like leading up to the release of Season 3, I mentioned some things about Season 4. We know there's gonna be a lot of changes being made in that season. You may recall, for some of you who've been around since the launch of the game, we had some streams after Season 1 went live. We talked a little bit about some of the changes we wanted to make in Season 2. And we'll remember that, like, vulnerable damage to vulnerable targets was like an extremely
reminiscing.
powerful
Give me
stat,
the
all-encompassing
sauce.
stat, really, in that part of the game. And we had to go back and we really want to take a harder and longer look at that, look at overpower some other things, and try to get the game into a better place. There were just more viable stats for players to proceed with. And that was a good amount of work, I think, that we can suggest. And yeah, it was a really great impact on the game overall. But it was, there's some
Well done. Good job,
Season
boys.
4 goes well beyond like the scope and scale changes that we made in Season 2, particularly with regards to things like our stats, attributes, and the way that rewards work. So while there were a lot of things that we did in Season 2, and we're really happy with a lot of things in Season 2 as a result, there was a
Campfire
much better
Irvine, I
version
think,
and expression of the
this
game
time.
experience overall. We have a lot more planned in Season 4, and the team has been hard at work for months and months working on a lot of these things on the side. So Season 3 came out, we had some changes with it. I think it's gone very, very well. There's a lot of really fun stuff in Season 3. Season 4 is going to be responding to a lot more of the reward concerns that players have, a lot of things with regards to itemization, and other things we're not going to talk about just yet. But the news that we actually wanted to talk about today is that we're going to be opening up a PTR for Season 4 so that we can get a chance to let the community come in and test it extensively before the content actually goes live when Season 4 launches. So it'll be coming up, while Season 3 is still active. The Season 4 PTR will go live, and players get a chance to check that out and give us the feedback. And if they find issues and balance things, and we'll get a chance to kind of interpret all that and make some changes as we go.
I mean, patch test room is huge because that's what we complained about.
Asking, hey, how can
good
we make
addition.
Diablo a better experience? We want to be a part of it. It's something that the
Well
team
done.
here has most definitely heard.
Give them
As
credit,
Joe
Chad.
mentioned, there's a ton of changes.
They were so scared of doing patch test
especially
realm.
around
Now we're getting a
itemization
patch
that are
test
coming
realm.
into Season 4. So the team here really did
Potentially
feel
better
the
seasons
need
incoming from
for,
now on,
a
right?
PTR for players to jump in, try it out, provide their feedback while Season 3 is still active, of course, because we want to make sure that players are jumping in before Season 4 actually.
I mean,
does,
now I can play
start.
Season 4 already in Season 3.
And giving us that feedback so we can make any type of tweaks and changes from our end. And I know the team here has been doing a lot of work to incorporate a PTR into Diablo 4, especially for the first time. And so what we will say is, like, PTR, of course, will be before Season 4 starts. We'll actually have more information here in the coming weeks. We're actually going to have another campfire chat.
Yeah, play early.
Specifically
That's 4 and
focused
S3.
around PTR and the content that you'll be playing in PTR. So it's kind of, it will be a little bit of a reveal of what you'll be experiencing in Season 4 as well. So it's going to be...
There'll be some things we'll hold on to talk about a little
some
closer to
things we'll
Season
hold
4
on.
launch,
Not everything, but
a huge
whole
amount
lot.
of stuff.
There's gonna be a lot,
Huge amount of stuff to talk about for Season 4 then.
And I will say it will be we're already talking about it and going like, wow, it's going to be a pretty beefy campfire chat coming up here.
PTR is useful
in
if
next
the
couple
devs
weeks.
take
We'll
on
have more
feedback,
info
yes.
soon. But and one thing that we did want to note is it is just PC BattleNet to be as agile as we want to be with the changes on PTR. PC BattleNet was the best option for us. So players
Steam
on
players
PC
get
BattleNet
screwed,
will be
Chad.
able to experience the PTR
Sorry, if you're playing on
themselves.
Steam, no PTR
And
for you.
I will say with PTR, because of the changes that are coming with Season 4 and the amount of changes, as I said, the team felt like, hey, we need a PTR to make sure this happens. Does that mean we'll have a PTR every single season?
Are they aware of the
Maybe
extremely
not.
low drop
It
rate
depends
Genesis
on the
Evernight
scale of
Uber
changes
intended?
that we have, but for
Intended.
Season 4, we most definitely plan on having a PTR, and so we'll have news on that really soon. So we're really excited that players can jump in, provide feedback. I know it's a long-awaited thing that people have been going.
So
like,
honestly,
we would
that's
love
the
to be
Season
able to
4
jump in
update
and
that we're
provide
getting a
feedback.
PTR.
I mean, I've been playing Season 4 internally for weeks at this point, leveling up character from 1-100, and it's a blast.
say it.
I'm really looking forward to getting more feedback and thoughts, just getting more eyeballs on some of the stuff that we have planned. It's gonna be very, very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, like I said, we'll be back here in the next few weeks. We'll have information on when that campfire chat will be for PTR and all the information that you guys will be experiencing in that PTR specifically. So, and just to
kind of
because
weak.
I know not everyone has experienced a PTR. I probably should define what a PTR is.
Yeah.
It
What did
is-
you expect?
it
I
is
mean,
a public test
maybe
realm.
10%
It is, the ability of
info,
players being able
anything,
to jump into
anything
a
more than
earlier
nothing.
build, and kind of test it out. Think of it like almost like a mini beta test of some sort to experience content that is.
Yeah, right now we're getting Season 4 beta test because Season 3 failed.
And then we can make changes before things do go live. We've had PTRs for
Pain.
Diablo 2. We've had PTRs for Diablo 3, and of course now we have PTRs for
No,
Diablo
come on,
4.
chat. Let's be real.
Really
Let's be
excited
real for a
that. And
second.
again, we'll be back in a couple weeks. To talk
I'll be
about
logging
that.
in alone for the leaderboard.
We'll now jump into
to try to
Q&A.
get top 10, top 100.
So yeah, we know that a lot
fake
of people
Q&A questions.
have
I'm
questions,
ready.
and we'll try to get
Chat.
through as many as possible. And then
Q&A.
and then again we'll remind everyone,
just like,
at the end of the stream. Of,
remember the
checking
fake
out
questions from the last campfire chat?
For all the Gauntlet information.
They were like,
and
"Oh,
stuff like that.
Adam,
We
exactly
can't
the
get this
question
stuff
you
out.
prepared
going
for,
live.
by the
Vlogs
way."
going live.
Yep.
So
Did you
I know
know?
one question that we've seen a lot, at least within the community, is regarding the changes in 1.3.2 with the crafting changes, the ability of being able to craft Uber uniques. And we've seen some feedback from players related to that, especially related to like Resplendent Sparks, how many are required for them. I know you guys wanted to talk about that really quickly.
I'll jump into this first, right? So for the uninitiated in 1.3.2, in our last patch, we put in the ability for players to be able to craft these Uber unique items of their choice.
Surprised me, Joe.
Once they
Surprised
reach
me.
World Tier 4. And they require Resplendent Sparks to do so. And you get Resplendent Sparks by finding another Uber unique, which are very rare, salvage them, and then that gives you the one material that you need.
Make it 3 or 2.
At launch, you need 5 Resplendent Sparks in order to craft one of these Uber uniques. In the next patch, where this is going to be where the Gauntlet's going live and the trial system is going live, we're going to be reducing that from 5 to 4. Now, why did we choose these numbers? So alongside those changes that we made as part of that last release, we also dramatically increased the drop rate of Uber uniques from non-Duriel sources. So while Duriel gives you a fairly steady drop rate chance, still low, obviously, it's hard to find Uber unique items
5
in
to
general.
4.
They're very rare and very powerful. It was exceptionally rare, as I think most players would understand, to find Uber uniques outside of the encounter.
Yeah, I
Uber
had
Duriel,
no
which is one of the
comments.
reasons why Uber Duriel is so
I'm
popular.
cool. This
We
is
did
fine.
dramatically increase that drop rate chance. It's still very rare, right? So you're not going to be seeing it all the time, but we are seeing a
So
dramatic
close,
uptick
yeah.
in
So
the
close.
Uber uniques are dropping throughout the game as a result of this. So why go from we
So
heard some of
close,
the concerns
and yet
about,
so
about
far.
the number 5? Why would we go from just a 20% reduction to 4? So we are seeing more of these Uber uniques dropping across the board, as I suggested. And this is sort of us beginning to get a sense of how players are interacting
By
with
the way,
these
keep it
features
civil,
as we start
Lopez.
pushing towards season
No
4.
name calling.
So in terms of like the number of Uber uniques that are dropping, the way that players are engaging with various parts of the game overall to like farm up these items, we're seeing some changes in patterns, which is really cool. We just want to let things evolve a little bit and see how things proceed. And as we kind of get into season 4, we'll be looking at making potentially further adjustments based upon reception and how we see the numbers actually doing.
Honestly,
We
in
still want
season
Uber
in
uniques to
season
remain in
4,
the spot where they are
it's
very
going to go down to
aspirational.
3.
They're not expecting
Finally.
for every build to have them in order for them to come online and feel fun. Obviously, players really want them. You want them for your characters. They're really potent. But they shouldn't be the thing that is enabling you to really do something fun with your class. It's an extra layer on top of your class once you've managed to get one.
Awesome. Question that we have here is, are we getting any endgame content in season? I'm sorry, I was supposed to read the name.
Oh God,
Hey,
here
you
we go
don't
again.
put your names, it doesn't count.
Jucklax asks.
Jucklax?
Jucklax.
Juck with one J.
Yeah. Talk more about the
Sure,
name and
I
not
really
about the
have to,
in-game
depending on
content,
someone.
please.
Very important.
Are we getting any endgame content in season 4?
So I'm not allowed to talk about season 4 today, but I would recommend that you definitely check out the PTR stream when we start talking about a lot of the content players are going to get a chance to test as part of that PTR release, because there is a lot of stuff that's going to be happening, particularly for endgame players.
Chat, we'll
go.
get a lot of season 4
There's a
news,
question
and you know
regarding
why?
Gauntlet. Wink.
Because of the PDR, they're scared of
that's-
leaks,
yeah.
bud.
So, congratulations.
Because season 3 is, as
We have
season
a
1 not
question
going
from,
so well, so they have to roll out new
that was,
content.
Why is the level
hype
difficulty only
soon.
Nightmare 70 for the Gauntlet?
Yes. So we wanted to make sure that Gauntlet content felt something players could start trying to dig into immediately upon entering World Tier 4. Why did we do this? We wanted players to be able to ramp up through the content as they're leveling up through that last World Tier. And we wanted to see how players were going to react to it, basically, as a result of that. Like, do players ever want to try playing through it at 85? Because when you're playing through the Gauntlet, there's the seals that I think were discussed during the playthrough.
Season 4 is around the corner. It's only like 60 more days.
If you're
roughly.
crushing those point scores, you're getting rewards for doing that. And it gives you that sense of
But we
progression.
get Dragon's
as you
Dogma
go.
2 on
You
this
get more and more
22nd,
gear
so
online, you find more of the
kinda
uniques
fine.
you need. You manage to get you start getting your 925 items online. Like, a lot of your player power can come online as you get your glyphs leveled up and things. it doesn't mean that you need to wait to level at a very high level to be able to go do that content. So we want to make it available. And we also want to focus a little bit more on how quickly players can navigate the space. Use
Chat, they just said, you know why the leaderboard is level 17? Because their data says that most players are currently around 80 to 85. That's why the Gauntlet is tier 17.
We weren't looking to like
That's the
recreate,
only
like,
reason.
the AOZ moment. For
And
example,
it's
as part of
okay.
the space. We
It's
want
an
it to be
okay
a little bit
reason.
faster, a little bit more
And
approachable.
if
for
like
players of
80%
different,
of the
like,
player
gear
base is
scores
still stuck
effectively
at
when they
level
start
80 to
getting and
85,
build power parity when they start getting into the space.
just what it is, you know?
Having like a fully tricked out build can be still very,
Data
very
backed
useful,
science.
'cause it's just,
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, and also
Yeah, I
I'd
think
like
most
just
players
to
do
double
tier
down, like, the purpose
70s
of
if
the
we're real
Gauntlet
with each
isn't-
other.
It's not meant to be really, really hard to get through at all, where like if you just finish it, that's an accomplishment, right? Like AOZ was more that room, like can you beat it?
Yeah.
And that's not what the Gauntlet is. The Gauntlet is about how quickly can you beat it, how do you optimize, how do you strategize, how do you change your route? It's a different thing that we're testing for players. It's not just about defeating it at all.
It's about the point score. you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of AOZ, Sparky Quark 7.
I think we need content like the Gauntlet, and at the same time we need
I just
content that's
really
almost
recommend
impossible to
again.
beat.
Check out, I mean, just
Really look at
like,
that
there's a
stream,
lot of stuff
like, watch
happening
that
in the
stream.
PTR
Well, what do you
stream. I
think?
just really recommend
Like-
just get a
like,
chance to check
I
out that
want-
stream.
I want the
I would
speedrun content.
recommend it.
But I
I'm
want
gonna
content
answer this really
that I'm
quickly
barely
because
able to
Shark
beat.
Cohen had asked,
Right?
Is the P and
So
PTR public
I want
or private?
both.
It is public.
Like I want a
so
super
if
hacked
you
out
are a
character,
PC
super
dominant user,
defense,
you'll be able to
Abba
actually jump
12-0
into
kind of
PTR.
like.
We'll have instructions
Can I
and
beat
everything
it?
of how to do that once we
And I
have the
want
PTR up.
speedrun content if
the
I just
stream
want
and
to,
everything like that
like,
for players.
no-brainer.
Is PTR free from Midwest Bob? Yes, it is. Is there an NDA? No, there's not an NDA. Can you stream it? Of course you can. So yes, we'll have more information on that again with the PTR.
We can
I know there's a
stream
lot of
PTR. Chat, we can
I just
stream
wanna
PTR. I
make
need
really
in
clear,
there.
like, it is free as long as you are a person who owns Diablo 4 on
Correct.
BattleNet.
Correct.
Yes,
So
yes,
correct.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. It's if you're already an owner of Diablo 4 on BattleNet. Good clarification. Fonz asks, Adam, will you be able to see a breakdown of individual score relative to the other people in your party in the Gauntlet? Actually, that's a good question. If you can go to the leaderboard and actually inspect players, because I haven't done that myself on the build. So
Yeah, right now it's party score, so it's totally
guys
up
see
the
the
Still
other
need to
value
try to
of our
become a
whole team.
Diablo partner, guys.
Yeah.
I need PDR access,
There is
and
no
somehow
team.
I'm gonna have to slide into
or
Adam's
party.
DMs.
I guess my own sub question to that would be on a solo leaderboard.
You know?
Would you be able to actually see someone's build if they have their profile not private or something like that? Can you actually pull up their character?
Yeah, you'll be able to see the skills they have equipped at the time, and you'll be able to see like their key passives.
I need 8-man raid dungeons
you can't look
badly.
at their whole skill
If
tree,
we had a
but, like,
team
you can see a
finder,
lot of
yes.
information about them.
Else,
Awesome.
no.
'Cause
But
we
I
actually-
don't
we'll
have
talk
7
about this.
players
We
to
actually
play
did make
with,
some updates
chat.
to the
I mean, I could ask the chat,
profile
right?
screen. We made
But I
some
don't have
updates
7
at the
other
same
players
time,
to
so
go into an
join
8-man
the
raid
Gauntlet,
dungeon.
please.
Imligit says, will the Gauntlet leaderboard be region locked? No, because everyone's playing technically on a global server.
That's right.
When you do play with your friends in your own region, you just tend to connect to them. You tend to connect to
You need a
people that are
matchmaking
playing
system.
near
That's what I'm
you,
talking
so
about. Like,
obviously
like if you get raids, you need a
That's right.
matchmaking system. Else, raids useless. Like Lost
Does
Ark
the
has.
companion go with you in the Gauntlet?
Lost Ark
So I
is
think
really good there.
Yeah, I saw this comment
Yes.
a lot. Well, especially when
Like,
Stephen
seriously,
Leviathan was
I mean,
playing.
Lost
through
Ark
because
does
he was
it
the charge
correct.
barb, and so a lot of people thought he didn't have a Seneschal construct with him. No, just charge barbs just move really fast. So
He was there.
he most definitely was there. The construct was there and was following him and stuff like that.
I
So
just
it'll
wish
be
other
with you.
ARPGs were as pretty as D4. I do agree.
And just so that you guys
D4
know,
is a
Gauntlet
good
is
feeling,
feature
pretty
that is
looking,
not just
fun game.
Season 3.
Yeah.
It is a feature that goes beyond Season 3. This is a part of Diablo 4 going
Yeah,
forward.
so generally your seasonal powers and things will go into the Gauntlet. You'll be able to bring everything to bear that you can.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a bit actually, whether we want that to
Yeah.
be the case, and we think it's more fun to allow these things to coexist.
Yeah.
Question from Cody.
By the way, keep in mind, guys, the Gauntlet is not a Season 3 thingy, right?
Gauntlet. The barb ran out of
The Gauntlet
density.
is
How
staying
am I supposed to play this with my friends?
forever now.
I think players, with Gauntlet is like a different type of
Right?
play style.
At least
players
that's what I
most definitely
understand.
have. You'll learn the dungeon throughout that week. You'll learn that you can actually take bosses. You don't have to kill that boss right there. You can most definitely bypass it. Maybe even like leash it or bring it with you into
Yeah.
other rooms.
You might want to save it because you might want the shrine later in a different
Exactly.
way.
There are
Yeah.
shrines that actually bring back mobs back to life, so you can immediately get an additional score. And so there's a lot of strategy involved with it. So I know a lot of people are going like, hey, there were specific moments where like Steven was like didn't have it.
What about the sever? Yes, we're finally getting a sever buff.
It's mainly because you can actually strategize and pull specific things and try to figure out exactly what ends up working really well.
We'll know more tomorrow.
For your character, your build, or how you want to actually maybe use shrines to benefit exactly who you kill there.
Yeah, we're not looking to make a slow-paced experience with the Gauntlet, which I
They
think
talked about Vampiric Powers. We'll talk about them in a
getting chance to
second.
check it out
Don't worry.
earlier.
As soon as the Q&A is done, we'll
we're
talk
also not
about the
trying to
Vampiric Powers
maximize
again.
density
I got
in
them
the
all
same way
saved.
we would in like Nightmare Dungeons or Helltide areas. Players aren't getting loot drops and they're not getting a lot of experience from these creatures. So that really the focus is on the player having an idea of like where they can find packs of mobs and where mobs can be found in general in the space, and navigating the environment carefully in order to like maximize their point gain during that time, and then interacting with these other things along the way. Why are you smiling?
It's just, I have a question from someone in here, but they have the most hilarious username.
I look forward to this.
I'm gonna say it, but it's hilarious.
Just go.
Bob Dole's Blue Pills asks,
Very good.
any possibility of getting better cosmetics through gameplay, maybe through Gauntlet, skins on par from the shop, etc. This is actually a active conversation that's been happening a lot, especially based off of community.
I thought the Gauntlet is going to give skins, Chad. That's what I understood,
so
right?
I will say that we don't have anything to say right now, but we'll have some more news regarding some items related.
Diablo
to the
Immortal
shop
is so much
that we'll
better.
be
Diablo
sharing
Immortal is
here,
insane.
over the-
If you don't want
the
to play
coming weeks
PvP,
and
then you're
months and
fucked.
stuff that will kind of help with some of this conversation that I know that we've been hearing. Sorry, that name was just wow. Al Quadrodia.
Yeah, only give from Gauntlet. I thought we were going to get skins from Gauntlet too. That would
I
be
know,
at least
amazing.
cool. Or an
Adam,
incentive.
perfect. Where can we find new vampiric legendary aspects? This is something we mentioned at the beginning of the stream, and if for people that are just kind of tuning in, vampiric powers are coming back into.
You never
season
mentioned
3
where
a
we
little
get
bit,
them.
Tuned a little bit differently.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, so you'll be able to find them the same way you can find any other legendary in the game. They're just going to be random drops everywhere. None of them, just to clarify, they're not going to be in the dungeons like the Codex of Power. None of them are going in there, but you'll be able to find them just like other legendaries just randomly out in the world.
Fantastic, Chad.
No
So you
different
might
than
never
any
get
of those.
them.
Awesome. Chronics TR.
So, Chad, in order to get Vampiric Powers,
favorite and very awesome to run through. Will they come back?
yeah.
after season 3?
There are a lot of
So
really
you'll
good learnings
be
from Nightmare
we'll be
Vaults,
grinding
and a lot of
vaults
content we
to
have in
hopefully
Season
get
3,
them.
that's
But if
kind of
you're
advising
unlucky,
things
you'll
within
never
Nightmare
get
Dungeons
them.
across the board. While Nightmare Vaults themselves are not immediately returning, like in Season 4, for example, they are also something we're going to be continuing to look at and think about for future releases. So, but we're really glad that players have found like some.
Yeah,
some value in
I
them
don't
and just
like
how
that.
exciting
They should
they
have
are
put
and
them in
how
the
punchy
Codex
they are
of
on the reward
Powers.
side.
Like I think
So, yeah,
that's
they're fun.
really
They're
weak.
a great disruption.
Like at least
to
put the
Nightmare Dungeons
shittiest
when it
version of the
comes to
Codex of
it.
Powers. That's stupid. I'll say it.
Afrojack365 says, "Do you guys plan on offering an armory to maybe swap builds?" And this is something that we've heard a lot over.
We've talked about it before too on stream.
Yeah.
We really like this idea. The systems teams, the UI teams, all like the idea of doing this. There are plans for us to add it somewhere in the future, but we don't have dates to talk about yet. This is something we really like the idea of. We
Dude,
wanna
there's
make sure
again the
that
talk about
the game
armories,
is-
loadouts.
when we launched the game, we had this idea of like
Nope.
having some sense of like build permanence and things. We thought that was really important. Harkening back to some of the some bits in the past from Diablo 2 and other games. But increasingly as we've been continuing to build the game and receive feedback and play it ourselves, we're finding
Oh
we
God,
really want to be
he's
able
just
to
said
embrace
it,
a lot more
Chad.
flexibility.
The
You'll see
reason
some,
why
like,
we
steps in
didn't
that
have a
direction also in
refund button
Season 4.
is
But this is an
because they
example
wanted
of a
it
thing
to
where
be
it's
like
well,
Diablo 2, where
we
you
do
have
it
to stick
in
with
an
your
effort
one
to make
build
sure
and
the
get
players can
fucked
kind of change the way they
if
want
you
to play
miss
more
skill.
easily.
Are you
this is a
kidding
feature we'd
me?
like to support. We want to do it the right way.
Did you just say
So
that,
there's,
Joe?
these
That
are
was
things
your
that we
philosophy?
discussed.
Screw you.
And this is on top of like some of the other feedback that we've seen from.
I mean,
players
refunding
going
is the
like,
bread and
"Hey,
butter
like,
of any
social features
RPG
and things
to
like
try
that."
out
I know
things.
It's a priority
Right?
within the team. They're working on things and stuff, and we'll have
Not getting
more
stuck in a
info to
build.
share here soon on those.
Like,
those
Path
aspects.
of Exile.
I'll end on this. This one's a good one for Jackson.
Sure.
He just
Because
said
this
that. Oh
specifically
no.
talks about the
How can that
Necromancer,
be a design
and some of the
philosophy?
changes that are coming. This is from First Time Cheddar. Why would you guys remove damage from Death's Reach's passive? Is that contrary to the no nerfs policy you had mentioned for mid-season updates? Why didn't you just add speed on top of the damage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say
Adam.
one, as far as like comparing damage to move speed, I think it's a pretty clear winner that move speed is a better stat and has more power than damage in our game. I think when we think about necromancers in general, even across the game in general, we undervalued move speed as far as how strong it is. Like we knew it was strong and good, but we didn't realize just how important and like almost one-dimensional move speed. If you have the option to teleport or move faster or get something quickly, that matters more than pretty much every other stat once you get to a point where you can kill things quickly, right? So
He's not
as far as
wrong,
why
but
didn't
then
we
tell
just,
me,
like,
why does
add move speed on
Necromancer
top
have
of
the
damage?
slowest move speed of them all?
Generally, when it comes to our passives, we try to
Universe,
keep our
congratulations.
passives,
I'm happy you did it.
simply designed of like, this is what
Thank
the
you for your
passive
support.
does, and it's all themed together and you know, like makes sense in a specific way. So we try not to have a lot of different effects on a single passive, or even ones that are like very disparate that don't really make sense to be together. And I think like moving quickly and having damage to distant enemies doesn't like, you know, you move quickly to close distance, not to
Hey, so
stay
why
distant
didn't
and
we
more
add
often
the
than not
bonus
'cause you're
move
moving
speed
forward
then
through
to
a
the
dungeon.
close damage
So,
skill, Chad?
Yeah, that was just a call that we made. Like, it's something we can very easily add damage back to the Necromancer in a more general way
you
too,
already
which
have
we
in
do.
different ways, but yes.
Yeah, you know, we add damage in a bunch of different places. Like, damage is very easy to add, whereas move speed, not so much. So we thought that the passive slot was a really good
Necro
way
move speed
because
is
we really
so
wanted
slow,
just a
but hey,
generic
we're
passive.
getting
The
more,
Barbarian, I believe,
12%.
also has one now.
And not only that, Chad, Necromancer's
that
getting
just
quite some
gives you
changes.
more move speed, so you
Interesting.
can just go through the game better.
Yeah.
So we felt like it was just a better choice for the class, and like I don't think that too many people are going to miss damage to distant as much because it's way more niche than something that's just generically strong like move speed.
No, I'm not going to
And,
miss
you know,
it. I
if
haven't skilled it in
Necromancers
any
do
build,
damage, we're a
Chad.
million places
Any
to
build.
do
No,
that.
no
I'm
build
not
has a
too worried
damage to
about
distant
that.
right now.
Awesome. And you had mentioned like even like Necromancers are getting because a lot of these mid-season updates themselves are
Bone Spear will be even
related to
stronger, yes.
minions, and
They
a lot
buff
more
Bone
changes
Spear.
are even coming in season 4. You had mentioned beforehand as well. So
Yeah, I think it's important to maybe address the other part though, of like, did we see this as kind of going back on our promise to not nerf things? You know, so I think this is why we kind of resist the urge generally in mid-season patches to redesign things completely, because then it's kind of a crapshoot. Like, is it a buff? Is it a nerf? If it's a redesign, and it could be seen poorly. We just feel like in this case, move speed is such a clear win. That
Can't
we were
take
willing
the
to do
Adam
that,
in the
but
middle
we're open
series
to the
anymore,
feedback,
Chad,
you know,
since you get asked about minion changes
if
and did
this is too risky to the players and they don't like that, then we're willing to bend on that. I think that's
Sorry,
okay.
I can't
We
take
just
him
felt like
serious
this was kind of an
anymore.
open and shut case.
cool. Well, thank you guys very much for the insight and the info on the mid-season update, and of course Gauntlet. Again, thank you again to Macro Bioboy and Anna Cake Live for joining us, and our three devs, John, Steven, and Liam for jumping in and playing through. Again, Gauntlet is coming out with 133, which is our mid-season update. That will be hitting next Tuesday on March 5th, so players will be able to actually jump
they
in,
speed
check
ran
out
this
Gauntlet.
shit,
We're
guys.
really looking forward to
This
seeing
wasn't
the
even a
feedback in the
2-hour
first couple
campfire.
weeks, and
This
you know,
needed to
letting
be
us
a
know,
very
like, hey, are
in-depth,
there any tweaks and stuff
waltzed
like that that we can end
out,
up doing?
good
We'll be
campfire.
monitoring that from that end. Another thing that we'll be monitoring is the question we asked earlier.
And we
that
get a
Adam had
campfire
asked
speed
earlier
run.
about how people want to see specific updates happen with classes and like and that you guys may have. So like by all means, have those conversations on various community channels.
I'm a wee bit
we'll be checking
confused.
those out. Let us know what you guys actually think. And just a reminder, Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass later this. Later, I almost said later this. It's 2/29. It's a leap year day, by the way. It is not March yet. Bamboozled. But it's coming later in March. It'll be on March 28th. So players will be able to check it out on Game Pass. Diablo 4 will be the first Blizzard title on Game Pass. We're really excited about that. So
I'll show you Vampiric
tomorrow.
Powers, TLDR, guys. We're going to make a TLDR in a second.
Blog
Don't worry.
post, and there's actually a blog post up right after this stream for the Gauntlet. So make sure to check that out for all the information related to Gauntlet before next week. And of course, we'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about that beefy campfire chat related to PTR and Season 4. So
Yeah, guys, since Season 3 failed.
Thank you guys very much. We hope you have
We're going to get a lot of Season 4 news now and patch test realm. I mean, like if everything works out well, chat, in 2 or 3 weeks, I won't be playing Season 3 anymore. I will only be streaming Season 4 PDR, which is kind of bullshit because I want to play Season 4 on Season 4. I don't want to play Season 4 in Season 3. But if I get on the patch test realm and I can stream it, I mean, I'm sure as hell you can forget about Season 3. You won't see any Season 3 for me anymore, ever. Right? So, now, what we're getting, chat. We're getting the Vampiric Powers as aspects, which is a bit shitty. But it is what it is, okay? So, this is shitty. This is bad. This is terrible design. These are coming. We're getting a Cursed Touch. A Cursed Touch is making things vulnerable. This is an offensive power, which is a problem. This should not be an offensive power. This should be a utility power, so that's a fail. We're getting Blood Boil, so core skills overpower. You get 3 volatile blood orbs that can explode physical damage. That's insane. And then every 20 seconds, we get another overpower. So that's actually really good. You got Undying Defense aspect. So when you cast a skill, you heal. So that's kind of nice. We can actually heal all the time. We could actually take Temerity Pants and potentially overheal all the time. So this could be intriguing for Temerity. Then you get Mobility aspect of Meta. So Meta is back. You get Unstoppable, but keep in mind, chat, Evade's cooldown is increased by 5 seconds. So Evade cooldown is increased by 10 or 5 seconds. Keep that in mind. We need triple dash boots with a meta, and then you can actually use T-Bolt's Will again on Necro. So that's actually pretty good, especially for say it now. The Gauntlet. We get Moonrise. Damaging an enemy with a basic skill grants you attack speed. So stacking attack speed, that's completely useless for Necro, but other classes might use this. I think Druid and Barb probably. Maybe Rogue. I'm not actually sure about Rogue. And then you get Hectic, which is after 5 basic skills, one of your active cooldowns is reduced by 4 seconds. Useless for Necro as well. I mean, Meta is good. Blood Boil is good. That's what I'm excited for. Cursed Touch actually works for Blood Surge, but you don't have the aspect slots, which is kind of weak. Blood Surge might actually be good for the Gauntlet still. Maybe a bit slow. So this is going to be interesting. All in all, chat, the Gauntlet looks quite lackluster because the Gauntlet is only a tier 70 dungeon. Okay, guys? Bosses are tier 70. Bosses are tier 70 HP. So it's like pretty simple. Here, this is what's going to happen. You don't really have to pick up Proofs of Might. The radius is insane. So scores without picking up, this is like, radius is insane. Very important. They're 1 to 4, 8 minutes. It's a bit lackluster, to be honest, but it's still going to be fun. So I kind of like this. Tier 70 Nightmare. Sorry. Bosses are tier 70 Nightmare HP. So tier 70, like 124 opponents, which is tier 70. That's how my brain works, you know. Honestly, I'm still okay with the update. It's kind of intriguing. I want to see the changes to Necro. So Necromancer is getting quite some changes. Here we're having the class updates coming. So minions are getting buffed. And Corporal Glyph. You and your minions deal 10% increased physical damage, and you gain 1% movement speed for each active minion. That one is bullshit because you need to have active minions for Corporal to work. And chat, remember what he said. We don't want too many skills to do too many things at the same time. And that's why we took the damage away from Death Reach. Well, what did they do to Corporal? Right? Damage and movement speed together? Huh. Weird, Chad. Weird that Mr. Adam Jackson would say they don't want to mix things. And they are actually mixing things. Weird. Right, Chad? Who would have guessed? Good. But what I'm looking forward to is really these changes. So spiked armor. And what is spiked armor, Chad? So we're going to get, let me get D4 builds up. We're going to have spiked armor now. And again, we don't want things to do too much stuff. Grants thorns and armor. Chad, it grants thorns and armor. But we don't want skills to do too many things at the same time, right? That's why I said I can't take Adam serious anymore. Dude's like a walking, like, red flag. So this is spiked armor, and it will give you 15% armor. What the fuck? He said that about passives. Well, this is a passive as well. Glory. So we get 15% bonus armor, which is kind of nice. So I kind of like it. I mean, it was odd that it didn't give armor, for sure. But maybe remove the thorns then. You know? But Death Reach going for a 12% movement speed, I will have to integrate that into every build right now. And that's going to be actually quite complicated because most of my builds are not running Death Reach right now. But I might actually have to cut the amplified damage to do Death Reach. I mean, if I have to put Death Reach and also spiked armor into builds, that's going to be complicated for most of my builds to really pull through. I don't think you need the bonus armor. It's just a nice stat to have. I mean, like getting 15% armor helps you to not use Juggernaut, helps you to not use Disobedience, but do you really need it, right? So that's the thing. I mean, what I'm really looking forward to is Blight, Blood Surge, and Sever buffs to see what's happening here. You know? So that's going to be intriguing. Maybe we're going to get something good. Yeah, the initial Lance build has Death Reach, so that should be working. I'm like... I mean, the speed with which they went over the Vampiric Powers has me still in shambles, guys. I mean, this is the part.
Legendary powers instead of...
We had like, what was it? 2 minutes. That's it. No, 3 minutes. So we start here at 20, 30 something, and at like 17, we're like that. We're already that's it. Actually, that was it. We had not even 2 minutes. We started at 20. We started like 20 here with the like with the Vampiric Powers. That wasn't even a minute. It was like Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday it's coming. We're gonna get the blog post should be out right now. Mine here first. Listen, Adam. I need that PDR right now in my veins. First things first, chat. Tweet us past radar. Because I need it. There's no question. I need to get in. So there is the blog post is not up yet, but they promised that the blog post to the PDR is coming very soon. So we'll see about that, hopefully. That was an hour ago. I mean, like I got Adam in the DMs, so I'm gonna definitely bully him. But I am still very the Gauntlet chat. You can expect from me the absolute fastest, best Bone Spear build that will be so tacked out on movement speed, 0 defense, and everything else that it's just going to be shredding the world. And then maybe a Shadow build. I'm not sure how well a Shadow build will do, because you see how the killing speed is, right? I mean, this was the Necromancer gameplay here. How he was going through. Look, he's actually playing Barrier, chat, but why? Why would you play Barrier? Can you explain this to me? I mean, nothing here is damage-wise an obstacle, right? Everything dies with a one hit. So if instead of Barrier, you're now going for maximum damage, like, fuck this, right? I mean, I don't even need to play Bone Storm anymore. Screw the damage reduction, screw the bonus crit. I can literally take Bone Storm out, and I mean, I don't even have skills to add for it. That's the problem. Because there's no other skill to add for Bone Storm. But still, though, you really don't need it, actually. You could play completely without it. You could play with an offhand to add more damage for standing still. Or whatever. Yeah, you could even play Army of the Dead, to be honest, and have it like full crit physical damage. Might literally be better. The problem is, so there's one problem now that we actually have to play meta on the boots for T-Bald's Will, which solves the essence issues. So we don't have any essence issues anymore, which is interesting as the Necro. Grandfather, exactly. You can play Grandfather. See, that's the thing, chat. You can play Grandfather, but you know what has me really sad right now? Like, I'm excited for the patch test realm, correct, chat? So we're getting a patch test realm, but at the same time, that means so what does a patch test realm mean now for the game? So that means we're gonna get the release of a season, right? So you get release of a season, right? So you get season release, season release, then like 1 month later. 1 month later is mid-season update, and then like 2 weeks later is next season PDR. So you're essentially we're gonna get some news to the new season, then you're gonna get some update, and afterwards you're already gonna be watching the next season's gameplay. This is like the only thing why I dislike PTRs that are open. I like if I have access to them, obviously, but don't get me wrong. but like there's no hype for the content anymore coming, right? Because you're essentially going to watch all, or you can watch all the content already being played, some of it on the PDR. So there's literally like this kind of like being excited for something new coming, theory crafting something new, and that kind of stuff. And then like, you know, you're gonna essentially I'm torn, right? I mean, end of the day, for me as the content creator, this is good. The PDR is public or invite only? I think the PDR is invite only. They can have hidden content from the PDR. They probably will hide some content from the PDR. Some. I don't think the PDR will be available for everyone. As far as I understood, I thought it was public. Are you sure it's going to be public? The way I understood it, did he say completely public? Because the way I understood it, that it's more closed than he said it public. Okay, that's good. Then I just misunderstood. Thank you very much. That should be like. Still though, that means like that one month before the current season that you should play ends, you're gonna already be playing the new content, right? Like, you know? I don't know. Yeah, so World of Warcraft has PDRs and the content is still hype. Maybe it's just me. I think this is more a me issue than a PDR issue, let's be fair. Like it's probably not as bad as I make it out to be. But yeah, would Death advanced speed boots boost go to minions as well? You know what I did think about? No, Death advanced speed boost wouldn't go to minions probably, but they still follow you. Chat, listen. Chat, listen. One thing we didn't talk about, but you know this update to the Death Reach passive for Necromancer? So what happens? I mean, what happens now when you take an amulet with Death Reach on it? Right? Because you can have an amulet with +3 ranks on Death Reach, and Death Reach is 4, 8, and 12% movement speed. So can I get 24% movement speed on my amulet? I mean, that's useless generally because on my amulet you can already get movement speed, right? And that movement speed can be up to 22%, right? Oh, I don't think you're gonna miss out ever on Diablo. So generally a 26.2, right? Yeah. So I mean, I guess you can get it twice. So like you need a movement speed amulet with Death Reach now to be super fast. I mean, then we would get 28 from the amulet plus the 24% from Death Reach total, and then we're going to be zooming. I mean, damage is already there. Like, you have to understand, right? It's tier 70 monsters. So if you're right now obliterating a tier 100 dungeon with your build, any build. So any build. If you're obliterating a tier 100 dungeon, remove all your damage reduction items, right, chat? I mean, my next week, chat, my next week now will be finding items that are only damage. Right? I'm not even gonna be looking for defense anymore, which is kind of stupid because now I need a set of tier 100 dungeon gear. I need a set of technically overworld farming gear, right? And then I need a set of Gauntlet speed farming gear. Yeah, I guess it is what it is. Well, tomorrow's video is probably going to be about, I don't know if I'm actually going to make a Gauntlet video tomorrow, Chan, because I will be honest, there's nothing to really talk about, right? I mean, like making merely a Gauntlet video, yeah. Blog post is up, by the way. I mean, blog post is probably not going to have more information, right? Let's refresh. Am I blind? Who posted in? Link the blog post. Link the blog post. I am ready. I need it right now. Thank you very much, Anungslos. Appreciate it. Did you just link me the German one? Jesus Christ, how do I get to the English one? Someone link me the English one, chat. I don't want the German one. I get robbed. Robbed. But I should find it here over my usual patch notes thingy, my patch notes short link. Here, found it. No problem. No problem. I'm a natural. By the way, thank you for all the subscriptions, chat. Sorry for not calling you out. I've been trying to not talk too much over the developers, to not ruin it. Okay, we have the Gauntlet here, where everything is being talked about. Prove your might, blah blah blah. Seal of the blooded. Okay, nothing. Okay, good. Nothing. Perfect. Nothing. Okay. I mean, we're waiting for the patch notes, right? They're gonna come tomorrow, kind of. I think tomorrow's patch will be about the necro changes. So tomorrow's video will be about the necro changes, talking a bit more in depth about the Vampiric Powers and how we're gonna use them as a necro. I don't think we're gonna make like a campfire wrap-up video. That's what we have this live react stream for. So thank you for like so many of you actually being here. This is very appreciated, and I really happy to have you with us. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We're gonna end the stream. So thank you for coming, watching. More videos to come tomorrow. More videos on the channel in general. Highly recommend checking out the Nuclear Necro, because that is going to be the one that will play in the leaderboard. You can definitely see more content from me. Most likely some Last Epoch, Dragon's Dogma as well, Deep Rock Galactic. I mean, everything, more Elden Ring. You know, I do them all. Other action RPGs, everything. Not just Diablo 4, but also a lot of Diablo 4. So take care, have a good one, and hope to see you on tomorrow's video and on the live streams as well.